What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, here to break down your weekly stuff for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys here today. We got 6 incredible topics for you guys. We got some Masters of the Universe talk with some brand new exclusive images. We got some unfortunate news when it comes to the DCU Paradise Lost, possibly. We'll certainly talk about that. We got some brand new CEOs over at Disney and a ton more, guys. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, joined none other than our returning co-host after a good month, Stuart Branscombe. What's going on, Stu?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing pretty good. It's really good to be back. I have definitely missed talk to you about pop culture and all sorts of nerds related topics. So I'm excited to jump right back into that.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you, Stu. I hope you got a lot of stuff taken care of while you were gone. We definitely missed you. We had Will here one weekend, and then I think we were off a weekend also, maybe for like a birthday or something. I can't remember the occasion. Oh, or maybe we had the ice storm that weekend. I can't remember, but and then I think I rocked solo dolo here a couple of weeks. So we definitely missed you around these parts. I'm sure our subscriber count probably dropped a couple because you weren't here, Stu. But it's good to see you, buddy.
Oh man, I hope not.
No, we're good.
Yeah, no, like I said, definitely good to be back. But yeah, how's the weather been in Texas? Because I've been hearing all sorts of stuff. Like, I feel like it feels like at times being in California, I'm in like the one place in the United States that isn't frozen over.
Yeah, no, we had a snowstorm or like an ice storm. Was it last weekend? Maybe I can't quite remember, but we had some pretty cold weather for the most part, but now it's like back to like the 60s, 70s out here. So it's actually been pretty nice this past week.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we're pretty much enjoying it. You're still at the movie theater. Have you seen any good movies lately, Stu?
Oh man, I've seen quite a few. I've actually been doing a lot better of actually going every week.
Nice.
And the weeks that I don't go, I try to see 2 movies the next week.
Dang.
Yeah, no. So it's been a very fun month of January because we've had 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, which I saw you reviewed and gave it a really high score. Seems like
Yeah, I
we
loved
both
it.
really would love that movie because I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I would say better than 28 Days Later. Like it was just that good. And then of course, did your theater cheer during the scene with the Number of the Beast from Megadeth?
Did they, I don't know if they cheered, but there was definitely reactions for sure. It blew me away, man.
Yeah, my theater cheered. So
Nice.
what I loved about this month of movies is that we've had great movies like that, and then holy crap, we had what I might consider probably one of the worst movie this year so far. I can easily say because it's only been a month, but that is Mercy, which was so.
Yes.
I mean.
I'm so glad I didn't go see it. Like I knew it. I knew that from the trailers. I'm like, this looks like it's gonna be trash, bro.
So what was so funny is I heard people trying to say that this movie was AI propaganda and that there was propaganda in it as well. And I'm like, is there really? Okay. So I go to check it out. First 10 minutes, my first thought was, oh, clearly anyone watching this movie like lacks film literacy because like the opening scene is like the most like very much like Super Troopers. Like it gives you this propaganda type opening. And I'm like, well, obviously they're saying this is a bad thing, right? Because clearly this is them just trying to show that the people in this world are being manipulated through this really bad propaganda. Like, it's not like they're trying to tell us like this is actually a good thing, right? And no, as the movie goes on, it's like they saw that episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine where Cisco and Bashir travel back to San Francisco, where they have these districts for people for the quote unquote undesirables to be blocked off from the rest of the world. It's like they saw that episode and thought that was actually a good thing because that's kind of what this world is like treating it like. It's like they're treating the Mercy program, the whole like districting people off. They're treating it like it's a good thing, and it's just like Man, I have some questions about the morality of the writer of this film. But yeah, so anyways, what all that to say, this has been a really fun opening year for movies. I think just with the big range of quality.
Yeah. I also saw Send Help this past week. Also, the Sam Raimi movie. That was a great one too. That was really fun.
Yes.
I had a blast with that movie. But yeah, Mercy was one of those ones where I'm like, should I watch this like for the channel? And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna. I really didn't want to waste my time with Mercy. So yeah, I'm glad somebody got a chance to see it and told me about it. So thank you, Stuart, for
No worries.
keeping me away from the theaters for that one. There's also another horror movie that dropped this month, Iron Lung. I think it's based off of a video game adaptation. I haven't played the video game before. I'm not sure if anybody's had the chance to see Iron Lung or not. It wasn't really on my radar. I'm still kind of in between whether or not I should check it out or not. But yeah, January, I would say for a month, for the most part, that's usually like where movies go to die, like where studios just drop off their movies because they're poor quality. I'm kind of impressed with the lineup of January movies that we've had this year, honestly.
Yeah, Iron Lung, the story behind it is actually kind of incredible. Like, it was just one YouTuber, Markiplier, who basically just like was able to crowdfund this movie and
Okay.
got it to play in very select theaters. And originally that was going to be the end of the story. It would have been kind of your typical, low budget. I think it was like $3 million to make.
Oh, wow.
But he had so many fans asking about this movie to the point where they were calling so many theaters that had already sold out their tickets, and those theaters needed to add more show times. And then even that wasn't enough. So more theaters needed to start adding this movie to their theaters.
Wow.
So this I think it was like $3 million independent movie now has grossed over 20 something million dollars.
Wow.
And I think like, well, what people were really happy about is that it did better than the Melania documentary that came out the same week.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, I'll see if I'll check out Iron Lung. I'm not quite sure yet, but yeah, it is based off of a video game. But yeah, that's a pretty cool story to see how a small crowdfunded movie like that for 3 million winds up getting a much bigger release. That's pretty cool. But Stuart, it is good to have you back, my man. Appreciate you here. We got a couple of people in our live chat today as well. Look, guys, remember, as we go through these topics today, these are simply our A+ opinions. We always want to know yours. So as we're talking about things, as we're discussing things, feel free to add to the conversation. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comments after this video airs. I personally scroll through the comments and reply back every now and then, so somebody will probably get to you. But let's go ahead and show some love that people are in the live chats today and say what's up to some people. We got Ricky Perez in the house. Just saw a new commercial trailer spot for the upcoming Mario Kart Galaxy movie during the Winter Olympics. Yeah, the Winter Olympics are currently going on right now. My little boy and I watched some figure skating for the first time yesterday. He was pretty amazed by it. I'm gonna see if we can find some like some other like speed skating, or maybe some bobsledding or snowboarding. It'd be cool to watch. We'll see. But yeah, they did have a new Mario Galaxy movie teaser spot. We posted up on our TikTok and Facebook page. Official trailer for the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic. Michael last Monday during Super Bowl week. Yeah, that was an incredible trailer. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see that one, Stuart. We'll see if we talked about it in honorable mentions or not. Also saw a Super Bowl trailer commercial spot for upcoming Scream 7. Yeah, we got the Super Bowl tonight, so I'm assuming we will get some pretty good commercials and some movie trailers, hopefully. New movie trailers will be airing during commercials. I hope so. I'm kind of curious as to what we will or won't get. And finally, yesterday, number one Sentai Gojujure airs its final episode and Super Sentai's finale. So Super Sentai's 50th anniversary has finally ended. Man, that's just crazy to say. I did post, rangerboard.com did have like 50th anniversary Super Sentai poster that they put on their Facebook page. I wind up sharing it to our Facebook account also. But yeah, man, it's sad to see the end of several eras come to an end for Super Sentai. But I hope whatever direction that they certainly go in next is just as successful for them. And hopefully maybe Super Sentai will return in like another 10-15 years or something like that. We'll have to see.
I also kind of hope that their new series, it has more of a bigger impact in like, in the United States and other places as well.
It's a possibility. I wonder if they're simulcasting the Space Gavin episodes. I think that would be a smart move on their part. Similar with, I think that's what they're doing with Kamen Rider right now. I think Ultraman does that. If they did that with Space Gavin, I think that'd be a really great way to have it a little bit more recognizable, and you're not stepping on the toes of Power Rangers, which is I think what's held them back from doing that with Super Sentai.
Mm-hmm.
We got Blossom in the house. What's up, Blossom? Good to see you as always. Peg C, how's it going? So last night was the end of an era. Super Sentai has come to an end. The last episode of Goes User. What did you guys think of Goes User as a season? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. But yeah, it is the end of an era. We got Crystal in the house. What's up, Crystal? Appreciate you coming through. For those of you who don't know, if you missed it over on Crystal's page, she was it this past week or the week before? She did she talked some Star Wars while she was doing like some was it Dathomir makeup, the Darth Maul species? Is that what is that Dathomir? Is that
that's
the planet?
That's the planet.
But anyway,
I totally forgot because
yeah,
there's technically two species that live on there.
Yeah, she did some cool makeup designs for herself while she was talking Star Wars. So check it out over on Crystal Kuiper's page. But appreciate you coming through, Crystal. Pexi says last night Super Sentai's concluded. Yeah, we saw that. John, what's up, John? Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday trailer will not be in this Super Bowl. Like the Avengers Doomsday, I am surprised. No, the Avengers Doomsday, I understand because that movie is like what 10 months out. It's quite a ways out. The Spider-Man Brand New Day is the one that I personally don't understand just because it's like 4 to 5 months out and we haven't even gotten a teaser trailer yet for that. So I would be a little bit bummed if Brand New Day will not be at the Super Bowl. It feels like it's just a missed opportunity, but I guess maybe these movie properties are that big now they don't need eyes on it. But I would assume if I'm Marvel Studios, and this is my stretch run towards the end of the year in a big Avengers movie, I want all the eyes and publicity on Spider-Man right now. But
wouldn't be funny if it turned out it's because Bad Bunny's performing and he's like, hey, they didn't let me have my Spider-Man movie. I don't want no Spider-Man trailer.
Leave it up to Sony to hold a grudge like that. Blossom says, great to see you back, Stuart.
Great to be back.
Adam, you're lucky to live in warmer places, man. I freaking hate winter. Texas would be good for you in the sense of weather, at least. Yeah, I mean, we get a few cold days up here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think like every year we get some sort of ice or snow storm, but it's usually around for like 2-3 days, and then it's usually kind of gone. But yeah, and then everything in Texas shuts down on those type of days. But like right now, it's February. It's about mid 60s and 70s this week. But we did deal with like 20 and 30 and high teens degrees here for about a week or two.
So either I really got my point across incorrectly, or I just articulated it bad, or Marcelino is purposely misunderstanding me. One of those two. But yeah,
super girl bad writing thing.
Yeah, because like what I was saying, and I wish I could remember what movie I was thinking of when I said this quote, but like basically it's like literally the opposite of what you're quoting me on here, Marcelino, because I was saying that I hated the old school like 1950s, 1960s writing where you had like, and I can't remember what movie I'm referring to. I know it'll eventually come to me, but when you have like a woman who's like specifically got like a job that she's good at, but she's upset that she's being seen as someone who's good at her job and not being seen as a woman. And like, again, I can't remember the name of the movie I'm thinking of, but I don't know. It was such a dumb line where it was like, I just wish you would see me as a woman and not just another employee or something like that. And I'm just like, isn't that like the opposite of what you should be? Anyways, it was just something, it was like a trope where when you mentioned like kind of dated writing, that was what kind of came to my mind when it came to bad dated tropes of writing women in movies. I think I may have articulated it badly, but regardless, let's just say that for now, I just kind of want to end the whole Supergirl debate on whether or not the character comes off as sexist or not. I personally don't think she comes off as sexist, but if someone else does think that she comes off as sexist in the way that she's being written for this new movie, that's fine. I am personally just not seeing it at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see when the movie comes out. You know, maybe when the movie actually comes out, I'll completely have a 180 and go, oh, this movie is so sexist or something. I don't know. But yeah, for now, let's just put a pause in the whole Supergirl debate. I would really appreciate it, Marcelino.
We got Johnny Marrero in the house. Hey, Adam, how's it going, man? Good to see you, Johnny. Appreciate you coming through. Pexy said the last episode did transition the appearance of Space Sheriff Gavin Red. That's pretty cool.
So they still did the traditional, like kind of like basically the high five as they march into the next series.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Crystal says, I made my own original character, Sith character, or OC Sith character. Thank you so much for the shout out and coming to watch. Yeah, definitely. Anytime, if you guys love Star Wars, even if you're into just makeup in general, or maybe you like both of them, Crystal's a really great source, so check out her stuff. Kiki and Luca in the house. Appreciate you certainly coming through, even with the super chat today, kicking us off strong with $1.99. Thanks so much, Kiki and Luca. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend so far. Don't know what your plans are this week, but hopefully you get to see some good movies and some enjoy the Super Bowl if you're watching the Super Bowl today. Billy certainly is, though. Who do you think will win the Super Bowl game tonight? She says Seattle for her. She thinks Seattle's going to win tonight.
I'll put my money on Seattle as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning Seattle too. I really like their defense, and whether as long as Sam Darnold shows up tonight, I think they're in good hands. Even though the Patriots do have a incredible defense too. This is I don't know. I have a feeling this might be a close one, but I'm gonna go Seattle also on this. I feel like a lot of people are picking Seattle. That might be a problem. Hunter, what's up, Hunter? What are your thoughts on Ted Sarandos saying that James Gunn's Superman underperformed? I did hear about this. I didn't read the quotes. Let me see. I didn't read the quote directly, but I had heard about it, and I immediately thought to myself, uh-oh, that's gonna open up a can of worms for some people. People are going to be sensitive about that.
I forgot. Is Ted Sarandos the guy in charge of Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can bring this up.
Because what I think, okay, so the dangers of what he's saying with it being a flop is.
Hold on, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Superman was released. Yada yada yada. Superman would arrive on digital platforms 3 days later. Projection of a 650 million global plummeted, and it finished with 616 million worldwide. The digital release just 35 days after its big screen debut hurt Superman's momentum, was widely criticized by those who support the theatrical experience. Gunn was eventually asked to explain the decision. He says, well, it's very complicated, but the truth is because of Peacemaker. I originally thought Peacemaker was going to be coming out the next month. There are a lot of things that are beyond our control, so that Peacemaker is coming out now. The executive was pushed on Netflix commitment to keeping movies in theaters. 45 days is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. Superman was a little shorter window, is what he's saying.
Yeah, I think it's like the problem is that now it's like any movie that doesn't get like the big, huge numbers that they're looking for. Netflix, assuming that they're the ones that end up buying Warner Brothers, they're going to be like, oh, well, it's underperforming, so we're just going to take it out of theaters after just 30 days and put it right onto Netflix. Then, I think that's kind of really not. I'm just worried about the standard it'll change for the movie industry as a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the movie made 600 something million, $615 million. I mean, I guess the argument they're having is, um, had he not taken it out of the theaters as early as it did, for to put it on digital, that it probably could have made more. There were I think they were saying it could have made like 660 million had it stayed there a little bit longer. I mean, 660 to 616. I mean, I personally don't see that big of a difference, but I guess that's like $50 million they probably would love to have. I'm sure. I'm not running the studio, sort of thing. But I thought the movie was in theaters for a significant amount of time. I think I think James Gunn kind of clearly explains that the only reason why it was taken out was not so much that it underperformed, but for scheduling release purposes when it comes to Peacemaker. And I choose to believe that. So I mean, if Ted says otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I don't take it as a jab at Superman personally.
Oh no, I don't take it as a jab at Superman. I take it more as like if Netflix starts releasing more movies in theaters and they give unreasonable high expectations for the box office, like let's
Oh,
say
right.
they release Brave and the Bold and they're like, we're expecting this to be $1 billion movie, and then like let's say second weekend comes, the movie's barely crossed over $300 million. He can easily say, oh well, it underperformed, so we're just going to put it on Netflix. That's the worry in my of my mind, or that's the worry I have when it comes to his mindset. Is like, is he saying that this underperformed because it actually underperformed, or is he saying it just to prepare us as an audience for more movies to not be in theaters, so we know what to expect, what he considers to be an underperformance for a movie? If it's like one of those things where he wants us to know what to expect in the future, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
Yeah.
I totally understand what your point of view there. Yeah, Hunter. I mean, yeah, I don't really see it as a jab at Superman so much. James Gunn Superman was still in theaters after it was released in digital. It was 84 days in theaters. Yeah, I was like, so I said, I felt like it was in theaters for a really long period of time. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like a jab so much at Superman as it was just the digital release schedule. But yeah, I don't think the movie I mean, I would say it underperformed in this sense that I think the comic book genre in and of itself has just changed in how people go to the movies and experience movies. I think um the distrust of where the DCEU kind of left us. And then I would also say some of the weaker MCU films that we have kind of gotten. All of that has to be taken into account as to whether or not people then trust a comic book movie to perform. And so you've got to kind of gain and earn those people's trust back to kind of come into the theaters. So, I think there are very few um comic book properties these days that will instantly be $1 billion anymore. I think the only three franchises that maybe might be able to get away with that is Spider-Man, Avengers, and maybe an X-Men film. But if you're in like none of those, I think it's going to be an upward hill to climb. But I don't think Superman underperformed in the sense because of like the quality of the movie so much as it was just the idea of like maybe expectations were a little bit too high and didn't take into the account some of the weaknesses kind of leading into the film release itself that James Gunn and Superman had to kind of overcome already. That's just I'm sure other people can argue other points, but that's just my perspective when I look on the outside looking in. Indy in the house. What's up, Indy? Good to see you, bro. Samurai Warriors sentenced to be a hero, and JKK reviews coming next week. Very nice, man. Appreciate the heads up. We look forward to those, especially the Samurai Warriors, man. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much, everybody, certainly joining us here today. We got some incredible topics, but before we get to those topics, Stuart, let's go ahead and kick off our show with our first segment of the day. And we're going to get into our honorable mentions portion of the show. If this is your first time here, honorable mentions is pretty much a segment of our show where these topics didn't quite make our top 6, but we felt that you certainly still deserve to know about them. So let's go ahead and get into some honorable mentions here. I don't know if, Stuart, if you had any today that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have an honorable mention. I think like most of the ideas or the things I wanted to talk about are actually already topics.
Nice. Okay, cool. Let me should I go in order? You know, I'm just gonna go in order here if my internet wants to be kind to me. There are a couple trailers I wouldn't mind showing here. Let's see if I can get this one up. Give me a second.
One.
Okay, so first trailer we got today, we got ourselves a brand new Stranger Things Tales from 85. I believe this is a teaser trailer. I'm not quite sure, but it is this animated series is set to go ahead and premiere April 23rd over on Netflix. So we got ourselves a brand new poster along with a brand new trailer. Let's go ahead and quickly check this one out, shall we?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey,
Coach, I need a coat.
anything happens to her, these woods hide a lot of mistakes.
I walk along the city streets you used to walk along with me.
The big snowstorm is coming next week. That's when we'll start the campaign.
And every step I take reminds me of just how it used to be. There's always something there to remind me.
Something from the Upside Down must have survived last year.
Looks like it's mutating.
Woo! That's big.
I've kind of always had a crush on you, Steve.
I've always had a crush on you too, Nancy.
No, I mean Natalie. Natalie.
Oh my god, the fact that they got Steve in here still being all suave with his hair just makes me laugh, dude. That's so funny. So yeah, we got. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I do like the art style.
Yeah, the art style is impressive.
Yeah, like the art style very much reminds me of like the Telltale video games, like from Telltale's The Walking Dead. And then yeah, I do love how like it still, like, despite looking very different from the live action show, the characters are still like instantly recognizable.
Yeah, I yeah, instantly recognizable. I am a big fan of the art style too. This does seem like so it's definitely set between seasons 2 and seasons 3. I do think there's a lot that happens within that season, like just from a Netflix perspective of where we go at the end of season 2 to where we're kind of thrown into season 3. That I kind of would like to see kind of put together, especially the Lucas and Max relationship. I thought was kind of sweet, even in this little brief animated trailer where they're holding hands and then he puts the little mitten on both their hands. I thought that was actually kind of cool. The soundtrack alone, I'm sure we're gonna get demonetized just for playing that song, but it just harkens back to how well I think Stranger Things in general uses music for their shows. And also clearly the idea of like the issue that they had with the fields from season 2, where the fields were devastated because of the tunnels that were growing underground. It seems like they're building off of that. That's something, even after those events of season 2, something was remaining, or maybe something got out of the lab that contaminated some of these pumpkin fields, or whatever the case may be. So it'll be interesting to see how the story comes around and how they kind of resolve it. I got the question I have for you, Stuart, is because I look at these as like, I don't want to say standalone adventures, but the animated series, especially if it goes for 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, all of this is taking place in this time period before we even get to a season 3 of Stranger Things. I know some people said that they're kind of turned off at the idea that like if all these events happened in Tales from 85, it rubs them the wrong way that they would then not be mentioned in like a season 3 of Stranger Things. That doesn't bother me necessarily so much because those are their own kind of adventures. But would that irk you a little bit?
Well, it depends on what happens. Dragon Ball. Okay, sorry. Here's a weird comparison, but Dragon Ball Daima, I had no issue with that taking place before the events of like Dragon Ball Super or anything, until we got to Super Saiyan 4, and specifically the fact that Goku still has Super Saiyan 4 at the end of the series, because then I'm left wondering, well, why haven't we seen him use that in Dragon Ball Super? So it's like that with this. If the story is standalone, which it sounds like the only real character development you're going to have is you're going to see them how they went from the end of season 2 to where they are in the beginning of season 3, which, to be fair, they are a little bit different. Because there was a bigger gap between seasons, so they definitely grew a little bit more between seasons 2 and 3 compared to like seasons 1 and 2. So I think there is a little bit like you can leeway they have in terms of character development of what they can do, and then it's all really going to depend on what the big story is for this, or the big plot is for the season. Because I think if the plot is like, another, we could lose the town of Hawkins if we don't act now type of story, I think then that'd be weird that they never brought this up earlier. But if it's like a simple one Demogorgon got out and it's made like a small leak that's caused other things to mutate, and now we got to all work together to stop it from spreading, I could probably see why that just never got brought up in conversation in the later seasons.
Yeah, I kind of hold the same idea as you do. We also got some brand new posters for the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic, Michael. This is also set to go ahead and hit theaters April 24th. So we got Stranger Things, Tales from 85, April 23rd. And then we got Michael Jackson's movie dropping April 24th. We did get a brand new trailer for that also. Let's go ahead and play this one too.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
Let me tell you something. In this life, you're either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
Do you know what I'm after? You want to be the biggest star in the world?
Hold on a second. Can I just say, my man just looks so much like him. It is like eerily scary. Like, it's eerily scary. I know that they're related. I think Jafar is like his nephew or something like that. But damn, like the makeup job also just looks great. I just need to say that real quick.
Capitalize on Michael's success, because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning.
I need to think.
I told you what to think.
God. You know, put that
I love my
belt to
family.
ass.
I just want to do my own thing. Just have all these ideas in my head. Just got to get them out.
And do it, Michael. Not a little boy anymore.
People always told me, be careful what you do. Michael, I knew you were different the moment you were born. You have a very special life. And Mother always told me, be careful who you love. I believe music could change the world. Spread love, joy, and peace. That is what I want the world to feel. Magic.
You know, Stuart, I was thinking about this the other day. You know how we did our most anticipated movies for 2026. I'm really kicking myself in the ass that I didn't put this movie down on my list. I feel like every time I watch this trailer, I legit get more and more excited for this movie. It looks so damn good. I want to see the performance. I want to see how much Jafar, like, is he actually performing this stuff? Like, is he singing too and dancing too? Like, I really want to get a great behind the scenes featurette for this movie, even before going in. But I know the soundtrack is going to be fire for this. But who's the guy that's playing his father? Something Domingo. He's also I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo. He's gonna be incredible in this movie as Michael Jackson's dad. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be great, Stuart. This movie's gonna make so much money, dude.
Yeah, no doubt this is definitely going to be a huge success in the box office. Like you said, though, what was his name? Yeah, Jafar Jackson. Holy crap, looks a lot uncle or nephew, right? He's like Michael Jackson's
I think it's
nephew.
his nephew, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looks and just has like a lot of the mannerisms of Michael Jackson down like so like perfect. Like I think like a lot of credit definitely has to go to the hair and makeup design for him as well, because yeah, it looks like they just like, you know, it's almost as uncanny as like the actor that played Bela Lugosi in the movie Ed Wood, like in terms of like the resemblance and how much he's just like capturing the mannerisms of him so well. I am really excited because I always love a good story about like I always love kind of a good story about like the rise of stardom, and then like also kind of like the baggage it can bring to you. And then I also, yeah, seeing the whole thing with with his dad and kind of like the way he's forcing his kids into this life. And when you had that one line from him where Michael Jackson was just like, I was just thinking, hey, I already told you what to think. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like, okay. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude. Pretty crazy. What else do we have here? For you video game heads, a classic arcade game, The House of the Dead, is being made, and Deadline is reporting that The Last of Us star and Superman star Isabella Merced is set to lead the movie version of the Sega video game classic, The House of the Dead, on Thursday. Today we break the news that Isabella Merced has been set to lead the movie adaptation of The House of the Dead. As we told you a while back, this one should be in the good hands with writer and director Paul W.S. Anderson, who did big things on screen for fellow zombie franchise classic Resident Evil. You know, I remember I used to play a shit ton of The House of the Dead at the arcade back in the day. That was like my zombie go-to shooter. I think it was a two-player shooter for sure. But I absolutely love this. But yeah, it's getting the movie, Stuart, and Isabella Merced is going to be the lead.
I was so sure that he directed the first House of the Dead. I just had to Google it, but no, it wasn't. It was someone else. But yeah, no, Paul W.S. Anderson directing House of the Dead. That makes so much sense. Yeah, I used to play that game. I actually got the high score on one of them at this billiards place in San Rafael. I actually got the high score there.
Nice. You check it out and see if it's still there, Stu.
Yeah, I got it. I haven't been there since high school, but yes.
We also got some DCU news. The Clayface has been delayed. Not by much, though. Not by much. Don't worry. This is not like a bad delay, but audiences will now have to wait a little bit longer for Clayface. It was originally slated to hit theaters September 11th. It will now move to October 23rd. So about a little bit over a month. Being pushed a little bit over a month. So Clayface is now set a little bit closer to Halloween for October 23rd. So mark your calendars there.
I actually am okay with this. In fact, I actually think this is better for the movie as a whole.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then last but not least, we did get ourselves some brand new exclusive images of Sophie Turner as Tomb Raider. Production has officially begun. You could probably find some set videos. The Daily Mail wound up dropping some set videos also of her on set. Looking just like Lara Croft, if you ask me, donning the not quite the classic costume, but it definitely feels like a Tomb Raider costume for sure. Yeah, she's out here. I don't want to say she's doing all of her own stunts, but she's parachuting in with some assistance, not like Tom Cruise or anything, don't get me wrong, but she's definitely putting in that work for sure. But yeah, some new exclusive images of Sophie Turner as Tomb Raider.
I'm so looking forward to all the grifter channels complaining about the fact that she's not showing enough skin.
I mean, give it time. I mean, it's raining in this scene. I'm sure it's cold out wherever she is, you know. We saw the exclusive image of her literally rocking the classic Tomb Raider outfit a couple of weeks back, sort of thing. So she'll have plenty of costume changes in here, but she looks like this looks like a Tomb Raider Lara Croft to me. So as long as she can bring the performance and the scripts are really good and solid, I think she'll do just fine.
Yeah, it's incredible how like she's almost like completely unrecognizable now as like Sansa from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Indy mentioned Super is being redone to include Daima because it's all canon now.
Yeah, so that was so weird. I would have totally talked about this during the podcast if I was on during that week, but they had like 2 Dragon Ball Super announcements. One of them being that they're redoing the Battle of the Gods arc.
Yes.
So yeah, like Indy said, I think what they might be doing is actually like keeping Daima into account this time, so maybe we'll actually get a reference to Super Saiyan 4 in this version. But the one that I'm excited for is that they're finally doing the Moro arc from the manga, because that was where the anime ended. I'm excited to finally see them continue that whole storyline, and hopefully we finally get a conclusion eventually to the freaking Black Frieza arc, which just like he shows up and he's stronger than both Goku and Vegeta together. And then he just leaves and he's like, bye, Saiyans. I'm just like, no, I need more. How did he get so strong? I need more.
Yeah, I definitely need more Dragon Ball Super in my life for sure. The image of Sophie Turner in the classic Tomb Raider outfit looked fake to me. It looked like it was a Photoshop by fan cast. I know it looked that way, but it definitely was an official costume for sure.
I think that they put like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it was a wardrobe shoot. I think is what it was. It was official shot from a wardrobe shoot. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to some of the honorable mentions that we talked about here today. And with that out of the way, Stuart, man, it is time to get into our main topic. So you ready to tackle these with me, man?
Always.
Anytime we get Stuart back from a long hiatus, we always got to talk our asses off. So we're already 40 minutes into the show and we're just now getting to our main topic. So try not to run too late today. We also got the Super Bowl later on today. I got to go run and get some beer after this is over. So I got a 6-pack to enjoy the game too. But Stuart, let's go ahead and tackle these topics. You ready to get these with me, man?
Let's do it.
All right, we got 6 incredible topics. As you guys can see here from our thumbnail, we got 3 on the very front. Masters of the Universe is going to be our lead story. Even got some Baldur's Gate to talk about with you guys today. The DCU's Paradise Lost, and a couple other topics, as well as the entertainment business continues to change. And this week, Stuart, Masters of the Universe continues to grow in momentum. I believe it was last week or the previous week we had finally gotten ourselves the teaser trailer for it, and then this week Empire Magazine released an exclusive covers to their I believe it's their upcoming April issue, where they're going to be talking highly about Masters of the Universe. And anytime Empire Magazine starts highlighting a particular movie, articles and exclusive first images are going to be dropping, and that's exactly what we have here today for you guys. We're going to get some new details and some new images to enjoy from Empire Magazine. So we got a couple articles that we're going to be tackling here with you. First and foremost, let me see if I can find. Yeah, let me they did release this this photo. Let me go ahead and bring this one up. Exclusive image here from Empire Magazine of Prince Adam holding up the sword of power as it's glowing. It looks just so incredibly badass. Here's a widescreen version of it, which I like even just a little bit more. But I will say, one of the things that I was really hyped about from the teaser trailer was not only the scope of the world that they're building, but just the set designs alone. I mean, look at the skeleton in the background and like the whatever the casing was that's behind him that was holding the power sword. And I mean, you just get to see just how big the set piece is that he's on. And this isn't necessarily like green screen either, right? So the idea that Travis Knight and his crew really went all out to make this world feel lived in and to put these characters kind of in this world where they could really use their imagination and build off of their surroundings. And that alone just really inspires me to see that they really put in a lot of hard work here. But this is one of the new exclusive images, Stu. What do you think, man? I think you're muted.
I think it looks great. So side tangent, my current hyperfixation, I've started to binge the Masters of the Universe animated series from the 80s. It's so fun. Like it's incredibly cheesy, but I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. Nice. So yeah, now I think I'm doing all this basically to hype myself up for this movie and to try to make predictions on what they might change to better fit, the big screen and all that. But yeah, everything I'm seeing from the trailers and then like this behind the scenes photo, obviously we see in the trailer there's going to be a lot of green screen, but I do like seeing photos like this where clearly there's no green screen in the background. Here it's like just all like practical sets. In fact, I wouldn't doubt, like, hard to say, I don't think the lighting on the sword is, I don't know if that's computer or if they're just shining lights directly at the sword to give it kind of like the glowing effect. I don't know how.
Well, maybe there's a model of the sword that actually glows.
Yeah, that too. Like that glowing sword might also be practical. That I can't say for sure, but like regardless, it fits into the environment so much better because of how much of the environment is like actually there in that background.
And that's such a badass shot. But let's go ahead and get into the first article here. And we'll show another exclusive image here in just a moment as we bring up this article. Give me a second here. This is from Empire. Master of the Universe embraces the inherent silliness of the cartoons. It's a virtue, is what they say. For Travis Knight, it was clear that his Masters of the Universe needed to lean into the world's toys turned cartoon origins. He says there's an inherent silliness to it, which we are acknowledging and embracing. I think it's a virtue, actually, and it's woven into the script to help some of these things make sense to a modern audience. Like, why would that character have that stupid name? Well, over the course of the movie, we show you why. That means an accurately green-furred battle cat, a faithful skulled-faced Skeletor, man-at-arms, and donning that chunky helmet, and Eva Lynn with her purple headdress and cosmic orb. And they even drop another image here. Let me blow this one up for you guys. Of is that going to pull up? There we go. Yeah, I believe this is Allison Brie, who's going to be playing Evil Lynn. She looks fantastic also, dude. Something right out of the cartoon. It says the live action film also brought the challenge of casting someone buff enough to play He-Man, though that wasn't Knight's primary concern. He says, I wasn't looking for a body, is what the director says. I was looking for a soul. I needed someone who had the spirit of this character and could be funny and charming and heartbreaking and also possibly a big action hero, because there's a duality there. Adam essentially represents empathy. He-Man represents strength, as he discusses trying to find the perfect He-Man there. And this is where Nicholas Galitzine landed the role and soon found himself hitting the gym hard. He says, I think anyone seeing that iconic physique would find it extremely daunting, is what Nicholas says. Even the animations put Arnold Schwarzenegger to shame. The proportions, the minuscule waist, the boulder shoulders. I had 4 or 5 months to get in shape. Truly, it was the most difficult thing I've ever done. More fun was donning He-Man's armor. He says, you become kind of abnormally confident in it. It's like when you do sex scenes, everyone else in the room is more uncomfortable than you are, you know. Wandering around in this costume was empowering. He has the power. So he liked getting all scantily clad in just the body armor and the little dress skirt that he's going to be rocking in here. But, you know, Stuart, I got to tell you, man, I'm loving what I'm hearing so far. Is there anything that's jumped out at you?
Yeah, so hearing what they said about like what they were looking for with Adam, like they were looking for someone more like less about a body, more about someone who has like the right soul for it. Very curious to see how this guy does, because the only movie I can think of that I've seen him in is Bottoms, where he was essentially, you know, it was a comedy, so he played a very silly bully type of character. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in a more, like, I don't want to say serious role, because it's not like he's going to be playing it like super dramatically, but obviously it's not like this is a full-on comedy. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see him in this protagonist role, see how he does, if I can take him seriously, you know, when he's in his loincloth, of course, after powering up. So I'm really excited to see that. And yeah, hearing how he really feels confident in it, I'm really curious to see how that like plays out on the big screen, if we can like see that confidence that he says that he feels when he's like you know, in the armor. Yeah, just I think that look wise though, they definitely found like the perfect actor, I think, in terms of like, you know, comparing him, you know, his look to He-Man's. Obviously you're never going to get those unrealistic proportions. Like even Dolph Lundgren, despite being like one of the rippest dudes in Hollywood at the time, even he couldn't quite get it, you know, to look exactly like He-Man. I think the only way you could possibly like recreate He-Man's body like perfectly is if you traveled back in time to the 80s and then just took Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian. That's the closest you're gonna get.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he definitely put in the work for sure. You know, it's just interesting. Like when I look at this image, I think to myself, like, oh, he's really not like, he's definitely not huge in the sense of like He-Man huge, but the dude is buff. I mean, the guy is ripped. I mean, he's in such a great shape. The fact that this feels like this, I don't know, like when I look at this image, I just think of like a leaner, more healthy Superman, He-Man. You know what I mean? Like somebody that did it the right way to gain kind of all that muscle. I don't know. It just looks like a more modern version to me of what He-Man should certainly look like. But you know, one of the things that stands out to me about this is just the idea of him trying to find the virtue of somebody the character's soul more so than just the physical physique of it. Him talking about the differences between Adam along with He-Man, along with diving into sort of like the silliness of what the animated series is certainly going to be, just kind of reaffirms for me that they're really like keeping the charm of the show. And I think we're going to get some of the things that are synonymous with Travis Knight, which is really great character arcs and storytelling, and just like the emotional tendencies that he tends to bring, especially if you think about Kubo and the Two Strings, or even the lighter side of the Bumblebee movie between Bumblebee and his partner in there too. So I love everything that I'm hearing from Travis Knight. I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders in regards to how to balance, like he says, the silliness aspect, but the fact that he looks at that more as like a virtue, kind of using it as a compliment towards the animated series, to be able to take that over into live action. I think this is going to be a really fun one, Stuart. I think this is going to have like a really great balance of a little bit of everything that we're kind of hoping for. But that's the hero side of things. I do want to bring up the villain side of things, because we also got an image here of Skeletor, as Jared Leto will in fact be playing the character here. Let me go ahead and bring this up. This is also from Empire magazine. First off, this design is just crazy. Like his staff alone, like the staff is crazy. Like whoever the costume designers are and the prop designers are for this, come Oscar season next year, they need to be nominated. Like, to be able to legit create Eternia and these costumes from the cartoon into live action, this looks magnificent. But let's go ahead and dive into this article. Again, this one is from Empire magazine as well. There we go. Skeletor is the embodiment of toxic masculinity, is what Travis Knight says about this one. It says Skeletor was a really interesting villain, Knight tells Empire, of the original cartoon incarnation. He looked cool, he was scary, he was funny, he was insecure, and then of course he had this distinctive voice, all of which offered plenty for Jared Leto to work from as the performers anchoring the role. He says, I wanted someone to craft their own version of that. Jared approached us because he loves Skeletor and has his own history with the character. He wanted to swing for the fences, and ultimately we landed on something that I'm really happy with. Skeletor is kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity. It wasn't always going to be this way. A Masters of the Universe reboot had been running for years, and previous iterations of the screenplay had Skeletor's visage as a golden skull mask. I said, fuck that shit, says Travis Knight. Skeletor has a skull face. That's just the way it is. It's a living, talking, emoting skull, and that's that. Don't mess with perfection. Shout out to Travis Knight. Travis Knight might be one of my favorite directors, right? Like, I love the fact that he's just like, fuck that shit. Like, I love his transparency there. Like, he was not having it any other way. So funny. But yeah, it's so interesting that he clearly had his mindset on what his vision for Skeletor certainly was, but also another interesting comment here of that Jared Leto actually approached him. It doesn't sound like Travis Knight necessarily went out looking for Jared Leto specifically, or the way that it comes across doesn't necessarily even sound like there was a big audition for Skeletor. I mean, maybe there was, but maybe Jared Leto just approached them with his own ideas and concepts of how he kind of envisioned the character, and kind of really nailed it and brought it to life. Like, if Travis Knight has the eye for, oh no, we're sticking with the Skeletor that we're used to, from a visual perspective, I gotta think whatever it is that Jared Leto introduced is still very much true to Skeletor, but maybe in its own little twist here. I'm just fascinated by the Jared Leto aspect of this, Stuart. What do you think though, hearing this?
Yeah, okay, so don't get me wrong, I'm still not a fan of casting Jared Leto in this role, but I will give it credit where credit's due. That is a little intriguing to me, finding out that Jared Leto actually, because like I think you said like this was a quote, like Jared Leto actually really likes this character.
Yeah, he has a history with him.
Yeah, that is just something so random I never would have expected. I just, Jared Leto does not come off as the kind of guy that ever watched cartoons even as a kid. But so hearing that gets me a little more intrigued about this. But I'm still hesitant because like I feel like every time in the past I've been like, okay, I know Jared Leto messed this role up, but I really think this is the right role for him. And it's always been like complete dog shit. Like I think the best example is that I think if there was any role he was going to get right, it was going to be Morbius. I feel like if there was any role that would have been perfect for his exact acting style, that would have been it. He couldn't even get that right, which felt like it was a role designed for him. So I don't know. It's he's just not a good actor, I don't think. But I don't think he's ever necessarily, when a movie's bad, I don't think it's ever necessarily been just because of him. I mean, I've seen him in Blade Runner 2049, and even though he wasn't good in that movie, he didn't kill the movie. It was still a fantastic movie. So I do hope that we can get the same thing from this movie, where even if his performance as Skeletor isn't great, it could still be a very enjoyable movie, just like with Blade Runner 2049. And who knows, this might be the role he finally surprises me. I'm not going to hold my breath and hope so, but it could happen.
You know, I don't know why, but there's a part of me that thinks that Jared Leto all his life has been a secret Masters of the Universe fan, and Skeletor's been his, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Jared Leto has like a Skeletor tattoo somewhere, or he's got his own personal Skeletor impersonation that he's done his whole entire life that nobody really ever knows about, and now he's like, finally, yeah, my time has come. This impression is the perfect opportunity. He could be a huge Skeletor head, and we would have no idea. But you know, I will say I do think the fact of Jared Leto being other such heavy prosthetics and makeup, I think is gonna do him wonders in here. Like I can see Jared Leto getting like so into his character because of the fact that he's covered in all this makeup and nobody knows, like, you couldn't even tell it's Jared Leto from just looking at his face. I have a feeling he's just gonna just immediately kind of fall into that role. And there's also a part of me that wonders, like, you know, because they've been doing kind of this early rollout marketing and stuff, they've been highlighting a lot of the hero, well, some of the heroes and even some of the villains. Like I've seen everybody but Jared Leto advertised in this movie. I've seen Alison Brie as Evil Lynn unwrapping her character toy box. I've seen Idris Elba opening his Man of Arms toy. You know who's not around? Jared Leto. Like there's no Skeletor reveal unboxing with him. Like nothing. Like it wouldn't even surprise me if like on the red carpet he's like nowhere to be found. Nobody's interviewing him. Like it's just keep Jared Leto far away from the marketing of this movie, and I think we'll be fine. Like as long as nobody knows he's in here, this movie is golden.
Honestly,
but no,
I wouldn't doubt if that was like the strategy behind it. Because yeah, like obviously you look at the costume, no one could possibly guess from looking at this who's voicing the character.
Yeah, absolutely not. So yeah, I am interested. When it says like things like toxic masculinity, I am kind of curious as to like what attributes we're gonna see. Like here, clearly there's like an insecurity aspect that we all know from the cartoons alone, but probably also like the inability to have any accountability for your actions. Like maybe Homeboy just blames everything on everybody else besides himself. You know what I mean? So I am kind of curious as to certain things that they highlight for Skeletor, but I'm excited for this one. You know, regardless of how I might feel about some of Jared Leto's other roles, I there's a part of me that feels comfortable with him in this particular one. And I would agree with you. I think the other role that I personally would have thought he nailed would have been Morbius. It just feels like something that's up his sleeves, but that he's more than capable of doing. But it is one of those things where I do wonder if the scripts that he's been a part of have just been so bad. Like, if I like, are the scripts just that bad, or have his performances been that bad? There's a part of me, I think, just because of his early success that he had. I don't know if he won an Oscar or if he was nominated for an Oscar. But I think after that, you have this mindset of somebody just being a really good actor, and then everything else that you see them in just not living up to it. Like, there's a question that Marcelino asked me on my Facebook page, like, who would you consider an overrated actor? I probably would put Jared Leto in there, in the sense of like somebody's name that you immediately recognize from like having really early success in one particular role, but after that hasn't really like lived up to it. But some people, for some reason, they see Jared Leto's name and they still think like, or they utilize him in movies in the sense of like he's that good of an actor, and I just don't know if he is. So I'm kind of curious. It's like maybe he just needs the perfect scenario in order to really shine as an actor. And there's a part of me that wants to believe that this Skeletor role is sort of like where everything is perfectly aligned for him, where you've got a great director, a really solid script, a character that you really enjoy, and that you self-connect with, sort of thing. This is your opportunity to bring your best Skeletor impression to life finally, Jared. So I'm hoping that the stars are aligned here for another great performance. But I will be curious to see how they market this movie with or without Jared.
Definitely. I will say though, obviously, for moving past the whole Jared aspect of Skeletor, I got to give a lot of credit when it comes to the costume and makeup design. I can't tell how much, because for Skeletor, I think they have to, obviously, for the glowing eyes, that must be CG, but I'm wondering if like a lot of the face is going to be CG in the actual movie as well. Especially for if they're going to have him, like, his mouth actually moving when he talks, just like in the cartoon. I'd love to see Corridor Cinema, or what are they called? Corridor. I'd love to see them do like kind of a reaction to this movie when it comes out.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope, actually. And then we got one more case here, one more story that I want to go ahead and share with you guys. And this comes from our new exclusive look at Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. And this costume, again, just incredible. It's literally the toy brought to life. Like, every little detail is pretty crazy. And if you guys haven't also seen the new line of Masters of the Universe toys that they're hauling out with this new movie, check them out. I think they depict the actors' faces extremely well, and it just feels like a new generation of Masters of the Universe toys that I kind of grew up with. I mean, it's pretty impeccable, the design for the characters in the movies and the toy line also. But let's go ahead and highlight this. This is from another Empire magazine. Masters of the Universe was a really big part of my childhood, says Idris Elba. For Elba, getting to play the warrior has a chance to reconnect with its youth. It was a really big part of my childhood. My parents couldn't afford the Star Wars toys, and the He-Man toys were cheaper because it wasn't as big. So I had He-Man, She-Ra, Battle Cat, and of course the original series was on heavy rotation. He says the cartoons were always a little bit more fun, a bit more camp, a bit more out there, he remembers. When Elba learned that director Travis Knight was embracing the toy and cartoon core of his film, the actor was all on board. He says Travis, who's an incredible director, wanted to pay homage to the aesthetic of the original. I was all for that. Though it made me think, shit, I got to go into the gym. He says, it was like being at a big amusement arcade. He says, with giant Eternia sets and so many of the figures brought to physical life, the production proved to be the ultimate wish fulfillment. He says it was like being at a big amusement arcade with all these massive characters. Elba says, who's ready to play? So yeah, I love the fact that they bring up the big Eternia sets and how really talking again not only the production design but the costume design to bring these characters. I mean, the fact that they kind of refer to them as like a big amusement park of He-Man toys that you get to play with and act opposite of. Man, I gotta imagine he had so much fun on the set of this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny he brings up the fact that he couldn't afford Star Wars toys, and so he ended up getting He-Man toys as a kid, because that's exactly like so my fiance and I were just rewatching the Toys That Made Us episode of He-Man, and that's exactly what Mattel was going for, because they mistakenly were like, "Oh no, we're not interested in buying the toy line for Star Wars," because that was when Star Wars first came out, and they were like, "Movie toys never sell that much. We're good." And then, of course, they became the biggest hit ever. So we're like, crap, we need a sci-fi fantasy to compete with Star Wars. And that's where He-Man came from.
That's pretty incredible, man. That's a pretty incredible story. But yeah, so Idris Elba is definitely on board here. I cannot wait for this movie, Stuart. It is my most anticipated movie of 2026. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best movie of 2026, but my hype machine level is through the roof for this movie, man. It's like all my kid dreams coming to life. And again, if anything, in the words of Idris Elba, Travis Knight, I think is potentially, I think could be a really great sort of director. I think if he does wonders with Masters of the Universe, to me, it'll solidify him as like a unique animation visionary that was able to make that transition from animation to live action in a really big way. And if he can do something wonderful with Masters of the Universe of bringing that balance and the virtue of the animated series to life, man, and that feels like such a, I don't want to say a high bar, but something that would be so difficult to do just because they haven't done it in such a long time, right? If he's able to make a successful movie out of this, yeah, man, Travis Knight has my trust kind of moving forward. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to the new images and details. Where's your anticipation for this at now, Stu?
It's high.
You weren't here when we did the trailer review, did you?
I don't remember if I was.
Yeah, I want to know what your thoughts are, either if not on the trailer, but where your hype level is now.
I'd say my hype level is pretty high up there now. Like I mentioned, so I'm starting to watch the cartoon currently. I think I'm on like episode 20 of season 1 out of the 2 seasons that they did. So it's like really cool watching this trailer now, actually having like a much bigger understanding with the lore, seeing like the small things that they changed here and there, and I think that it definitely works structure wise for adapting He-Man into a movie. I think that, yeah, I'd say that I don't know if I would put this on my top 5 of the year, but definitely top 10 most anticipated movies of the year this year for sure.
We also have Blossom here, says if he really looks like Skeletor, the makeup people are definitely doing one heck of a job. Yeah, I totally would agree with you there. Marcy says it's funny that Skeletor is described as toxic masculinity because Jared Leto is a prime example of toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
that's funny. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to He-Man, Masters of the Universe. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And with that out of the way, Stuart, let's move over to our DCU talk here this week as Paradise Lost is back in the news here. There was an article I meant to pull up, but I could not find. Maybe I'll have some time to try and find it while we talk about this. But they have certainly changed course over at the DCU in regards to a lot of their attention now being put on Wonder Woman. It looks as though Wonder Woman and Batman are the two characters that they're really trying to push towards the forefront. But Wonder Woman, despite originally when the Gods and Monsters chapter 1 was revealed, while there wasn't a Wonder Woman solo film anywhere, there was a Paradise Lost series, which is supposed to be sort of like a prequel, if you will, to any Wonder Woman film that was going to focus on Themyscira and the Amazons kind of claiming that island for themselves, sort of thing. So it was definitely set up to be like the Game of Thrones prequel type of vibe, if you will. I personally personally thought, Stuart, months ago that there was positive talk about Paradise Lost along with Wonder Woman kind of moving forward. But today or this week, according to a brand new report, that may not necessarily be the case for Paradise Lost. So much so where there's reports stating that the series itself may be dead. It may no longer even be on the shelf for something that the DCU decides to tackle. I find this kind of sad personally, if these reports are certainly to be believed. But let's go ahead and dive into this article a little bit, shall we? This comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. Paradise Lost reportedly dead at DC Studios as focus shifts to a Wonder Woman reboot. While both Batman and Superman were promised big screen reboots, there was no mention of Wonder Woman. Few details were revealed beyond it, exploring the Mascara's past. James Gunn and Peter Safran may live to regret the day they announced that slate, especially as Brave and the Bold, The Authority, Swamp Thing, Waller, and Booster Gold have either fallen apart or find themselves stuck in development hell. However, several other movies and TV shows are being developed, including Clayface, Man of Tomorrow, Blue Beetle, DC Crime, and Mr. Miracle. Supergirl scribe Anna Noguera has been tasked with writing a Wonder Woman movie. So where does that leave Paradise Lost? Well, it's not good news for those of you looking forward to the series. Again, so take this with a grain of salt if you want to. I do know that John Roca usually has a podcast where he also brings on Jeff Schneider, the internet insider, if you will, and some of his stuff tends to be pretty on point. But according to John Roca here, he says sources are telling me that DC was meeting with writers for Paradise Lost, was taking pitches for Paradise Lost, but they've been informed that the project is dead. Paradise Lost is dead. It will not be happening as a TV show, and not dead in the sense of like, well, they're just going to wait for a script. They're being told, these writers and these people who pitch storylines for Paradise Lost to be showrunner, the writers of Paradise Lost, they've been told this project dead, no longer in active development, dead. And that's a massive bit of news because I think a lot of people felt that it was a little weird that we were going to be doing a Mascara show but not have Wonder Woman in it. As for Paradise Lost, it was never generated much in the way of excitement, so we're not sure. Most of you will be happy to see we're sure most of you will be happy to see the focus shift to Wonder Woman instead. I can't remember the article that I read that was like, yeah, they're kind of moving forward with Paradise Lost, or at least we're still working on it in the sense of having people actually attached to this project. But look, let me just say this. I was trying to see, is my camera going to come up, or is my thing kind of stalling on me a little bit here?
A little bit of lag.
There we go. It's kind of...
and now her screen...
a little bit of a lag here. Can you see?
You're frozen, but I can see you now.
I'm a little... Okay, let me get you up here first, Stuart. Maybe it'll let me flip you over here. What are your thoughts on this, man? I mean, I know a lot of people are asking for Wonder Woman something, but the fact that we're now getting Wonder Woman but not Paradise Lost, does this surprise you? Are you bummed about this? How do you feel about it?
I gotta be honest, I'm somewhat neutral, not too surprised about this. Like for me, I really did want to see Paradise Lost because I thought it'd be kind of cool to see a Game of Thrones type fantasy adventure, but set in the DC universe. But I also do kind of get that, practicality wise, there would be a lot that would go into it in terms of like how much you would have to plan for a show like that and how much that would go into production, and not to mention the communication that would also entail when it comes to communicating with other writers as well when it came came to it. So I get like that it may not have, they may have been one of those things where the scripts were taking too long, and in the end they were just kind of like, maybe this isn't even worth it in the long run. And then there's also the factor of knowing they're not even going to be like exclusive to HBO Max in the next coming couple of years. So I wonder if that also had something to do with it. I think like one of the biggest mistakes, and I know this is like really funny to say because he's only been like president of DC for a couple of years and it's only been 1 year of actually releasing movies, but I do think James Gunn kind of made a mistake in announcing a little bit too much before having any like actual solid plans for any of the future movies of the DC universe. So I think that like announcing projects like Paradise Lost before you had like a full concept, probably not the smartest move on his part. So yeah, little bit bummed, not surprised, however, and I wouldn't say that I'm like at a total loss for this, because it's not like this was one of the shows I was incredibly hyped for. It was just one that I was kind of looking forward to seeing. But yeah, I do hope that I hope that, like, I know that they said that this is dead and not like we're putting it on ice, but a part of me does kind of hope that this isn't something they completely let go of. Like, I hope that they hold on to it just in case like the planets align and we can get a show like this, because I do think it could still happen. But yeah, it all depends.
Yeah, I will say, Marcelino says, does this mean Paradise Lost is canceled permanently, or will it be worked on after they get a Wonder Woman? According to them, they're saying it's dead, that they have no intention of technically doing this anymore. But I'm kind of in line with you, Stuart, in the sense of like, I hope this is something that they decide to eventually come back to, because I do think it has a lot of promise. I would agree with you too, in the sense of like, if I'm James Gunn, the announcement of that massive slate, looking back on it now, does seem like a little bit of a mistake, in the sense of, you know, maybe you should have put Wonder Woman and Batman and things like that, although Batman was already up there with the Brave and the Bold, but maybe including Wonder Woman into that lineup first would have been the smarter choice, and then maybe leave something like Paradise Lost down the line a little bit, because I can see Paradise Lost very much working as like a spin-off out of something that we get from Wonder Woman, right? So like, if Wonder Woman is then successful, then if you want to go further back in time, a prequel series for Wonder Woman in Paradise Lost, I think would be really great. Again, I think if there's any influence and adaptation that you would take for Paradise Lost, it would probably be like the very first issue of the George Perez Wonder Woman run back in the late 80s, early 90s or something like that. They gave a really great background history to Themyscira and kind of build off of that, because I do think that there is sort of like a Game of Thrones-esque aspect to the history of Themyscira that could really be told, and I think be really compelling television. And you get the opportunity to highlight other Amazonians and introduce them into bigger roles within sort of the DCU. So it does feel as though Paradise Lost was introduced prematurely, but I don't think they should completely kill it off. I mean, I'm okay with the idea of getting a Wonder Woman movie, and then if that's successful, then yeah, build upon more of that universe. And I think a Paradise Lost Themyscira story would fit absolutely perfectly in there. So I am hoping that it is a case of like not dead, but keeping it on the back burner so that once the opportunity arises, they can go ahead and tackle it again. You know, some people may not have necessarily been eager for it, but I was really eager for it. What I appreciated about James Gunn's slate was that it did seem unconventional, not necessarily like doing things certainly by the book, but you know, looking back on it now, when you've had these ideas of what you want to bring to life, but you're not capable of finding a script, or people aren't able to bring the vision that you're seeing for these projects to life, you know, I guess you move on to things that are working or really great scripts. And it seems as though that's come in the form of things like a Mr. Miracle and a Clayface and, things that weren't even necessarily announced in his slate that are now kind of getting greenlit. So we'll see. We'll see what else happens here. Again, part of me is hoping that I haven't heard from James Gunn. I've been on threads trying to find out whether or not James Gunn is going to knock down this report or not. I'm kind of hoping that he debunks this or at least clarifies some things in regards to it. But as of right now, Stuart, I am a little bit bummed, man. I am one of those people that hope that this isn't true. Or if it is something that does get pushed down the line, I hope that they keep it around because I don't want to see it go completely.
Yeah, I would rather for a project like this, I'd rather they just like put it on ice because you never know when it could come back up. I mean, look at probably a weird example, Runaways. That was like planned for like late to like I think like early to like late 2000s, early 2010s, but they ended up holding it off, putting the script on ice until like eventually they went for it. And from what I remember, I think the first couple seasons were a pretty big success.
For Runaways?
Yeah,
Runaways was pretty successful for sure. Marcelino says in the beginning, Gunn seemed very gung-ho on lesser-known characters getting their own projects like The Authority, but now is backtracking to make sure the big A-listers getting their own projects. Yeah, I mean, he even says, The Authority has been really hard to kind of bring to life. Also, Waller's kind of hit a little bit of a snag. It seems like it's still in development. Like those things haven't necessarily. Well, the Authority one I think might be dead. Also, I think Waller is still a possibility. I think Booster Gold is certainly still a possibility, but we just haven't heard any kind of development from them, sort of thing. So it just seems like they're still behind the scenes being worked on. James Gunn has talked about that there are a couple things that he's ready to green light, but he hasn't made any announcements on those yet. So I am curious as to like what's going on behind the scenes at DC Studios that's actually ready to kind of be announced and when those announcements are certainly going to be happening. And I have a feeling a lot of those announcements are going to be nothing that James Gunn had even like gotten us mentally ready and prepared for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And part of me wonders, like, with like a lot of the changes, how much is that like James Gunn wanting to make these changes and how much of it is like higher studio executives above James Gunn's paid grade that are like going, we kind of want to play it safe for now. So how about instead of The Authority, let's do something like Wonder Woman, she's more recognizable.
Yeah, and I'm sure after the release of Superman 2, I'm sure they probably had some discussions in the sense of like, okay, maybe Superman didn't make 750 or 800 million dollars, like while we're so pleased with the 600 million dollars, does that mean that like should we stay with more recognizable names or is it safe now to start like experimenting? Like, have we earned people's trust just yet? And I do wonder if there's some trepidation behind the scenes a little bit. Like, yeah, maybe we should play a little bit safe. Let's make sure that we really get this Batman and Wonder Woman right, and then kind of build off on those things. But we'll see.
Ooh, actually, come to think of it, it could be that they were unlike Sony, they had a backup plan, which is what it seems like they're going with now in terms of with Superman. But like Sony, for example, after Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not a flop, but they considered it a failure because they were relying on that movie to essentially fund the rest of the Spider-Man cinematic universe. They were thinking that this movie was going to make so much money that we wouldn't even need to this would pay for everything that we're going to be working on in the future. So I wonder if that's what it was when it came to kind of the other like projects that didn't focus on like kind of the main superheroes that people are familiar with. Like, I wonder if James Gunn was kind of banking on Superman making enough money to where it's like they could take bigger risks and make movies like make shows like Paradise Lost, movies like The Authority. And even if those would end up being a complete flop, it wouldn't have mattered because they made so much money from Superman. But then when Superman didn't make that much money, it like, again, not a flop, but definitely not like $1 billion movie. So I think think because of that, they still want to play it a little bit safer for now. But I do hope we eventually get to that point that James Gunn seemed like he was interested in going to in the beginning, where it's like we get this really good balance of both superheroes that we've been familiar with for so long, but also a bunch of unrecognizable ones, or at least ones that aren't like recognizable to the general public.
Yeah, it definitely could be a possibility behind that for sure. So yeah, guys, we'll definitely keep you posted. Again, as of right now, according to reports from John Roca and Jeff Schneider, Paradise Lost series apparently seems to be dead in the water, not proceeding forward. But again, we haven't heard from James Gunn directly, so take this with a grain of salt, but just be aware of it if you don't hear anything else in the future. All right, guys, from the DCU over to not quite the MCU, but the house in which Marvel Studios is under, and that is in fact Disney. Disney is in the news here this week because we got a big shakeup, Stuart. It seems as though it's succession season right now. We've had Kathleen Kennedy announced her farewell tour, if you will, announcing two co-CEOs over at Lucasfilm as Kathleen Kennedy is set to depart. And there's another big name in Hollywood that's set to depart for the second time, as Bob Iger is in the news here this week as he has gone through his second succession. If you guys recall, Bob Iger did retire briefly a few years back, hiring CEO Bob Chapek during the pandemic era, and things just went sideways and downwards for Disney. And Bob Iger returned. And so now Bob Iger is taking his second retirement after he's come back to help Disney out. And now he's got a new succession plan in place. And we've got two new huge announcements here. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Disney names Josh D'Amaro, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name, Josh D'Amaro, as its new CEO. He is the second gentleman to the left in the black tux here without the tie, big old grin on his face. Second gentleman to the left here, that's Josh D'Amaro. He's also promoted Dana Walden, the young lady that you see here, as president and chief creative officer. So we've got some two big names that are going to be joining Walt Disney. This has found its new CEO in Josh D'Amaro, the chairman of the company's experience division. The entertainment giant formally revealed D'Amaro's promotion Tuesday morning, also elevating Dana Walden to president and chief creative officer. The pair in the middle that you see here will move into their new roles on March 18th. So Bob Iger is still the CEO until March 18th, and then these two in the middle that you see here will be taking on those new roles on March 18th. And it's the same day that Disney holds its annual meeting. Tomorrow will also be named to the company's board at that time. Here's a couple things that some people had to say. Josh D'Amaro possesses the rare combination of inspiring leadership and innovation, a keen eye for strategic growth opportunities, and a deep passion for the Disney brand and its people, all of which make him the right person to take the helm as Disney's next CEO. That's what one of the chairmen at the board of directors said. Throughout this search process, Josh had demonstrated a strong vision for the company's future and a deep understanding of the creative spirit that makes Disney unique in an ever-changing marketplace. He has an outstanding record of business achievement, collaborating with some of the biggest names in entertainment to bring their stories to life in our parks, showcasing the power of combined Disney storytelling with cutting-edge technology. The board believes he is exceptionally well prepared to guide this global company forward to serve our consumers around the world and create long-term value for shareholders. Let me see here. What else do they say in this article? I'm going to bring this up for you guys too. I believe this is again from the Hollywood Reporter, so we can read along a little bit also. Who else is who? This is Josh Damaro. His statement: I'm immensely grateful to the board for entrusting me with leading the company. That means so much to me and millions around the world. Disney's strengths have always come from our people and the creative excellence that defines our stories. There's no limit to what Disney can achieve, and I'm excited to work with our team across the company and brilliant creative partners to honor Disney's remarkable legacy while continuing to innovate, grow, and deliver exceptional value for our consumers. Disney, with its long, illustrious history and dominant culture influence, is seen as something of a bellwether for the entire entertainment industry, and naming a new CEO garners close attention from across the world of businesses. Trying to see if it says the ascension of a Damaro bore little resemblance to the Chapek choice. Instead, Damaro's elevation to CEO also ends a year-long succession bake-off. Also by, let me see, where does this go? With Damaro, Disney's entertainment co-chair Dana Walden frequently cited as the top internal candidates. By also elevating Walden, Gorman is taking a cue from his own experience at Morgan Stanley, where he held a public succession bake-off and promoted the two candidates who ultimately did not get the CEO job. Dana Walden is an excellent leader who commends tremendous respect from the creative community, is what Bob Iger said. Given that creativity is the heart of everything Disney does, she's a wonderful choice to serve in a new leadership role. In the years since Dana joined Disney, she has accumulated great knowledge about the many facets of our businesses and brands, and is very well prepared to be president and chief creative officer. There's also another article here that talked a little bit more about Dana Walden, because I think I will say this: these are two names that I think people need to be sort of made aware of here, especially kind of moving forward. It says Dana Walden didn't get the job, the big CEO job at Disney, but she did get a new job that will put her in almost as much of a fishbowl in Hollywood as Josh Damaro will face as he moves into Bob Iger's office next month. Dana Walden is tasked with steering the ship of Disney's TV and film studios and streaming platforms, aside from ESPN. She's also part consigliere and part HBO concierge, to Damaro, who has no profile to speak of in a creative community that is still essentially storytelling fuel for Disney operations. So I find that interesting. So she is kind of like, because maybe Walden or Josh Damaro doesn't necessarily have that experience in regards to the creative community, and that aspect of Disney operations, it seems as though Dana Walden was the one kind of promoted to that role to maybe like counterbalance, not quite like a co-CEO, but I almost kind of view it as that in that sense, Stuart.
I think it's like, yeah, because with Disney, the two, like the most valuable part of Disney is like the actual cruise and then Disneyland. So I wonder if that's kind of like where it's at. It's like the new CEO is like in charge of like those two specifically, whereas she's more in charge of only the entertainment aspect of it. In other words, the entertainment aspect, which is basically the commercial for Disneyland, that being Avengers and Star Wars and all of that. So to me, I find it weird that that's not how they were doing it in the past. I think that having someone focused on like both trying to make sure your profits for an amusement park stay high, but then also making sure that you guys are doing a good job in terms of entertainment. To me, that feels like two very separate jobs. And it sounds like that's what they're trying this time. To me, it just seems weird that that's not what the default was.
Whether they've done before. Yeah, I agree with you. He says, we were looking for people who had not just run good businesses, which is what I call necessary, but not sufficient, but had the ability to grow into what a CEO does, which is very different from running a business. Josh demonstrated the curiosity, innovation, energy, and passion for the brand, all the intrinsic qualities. Walden's new role is an explicit acknowledgement by the board that Josh D'Amaro needs a capable and empowering lieutenant to run the film and TV-centric aspect of Disney's business. There was no such scaffolding 6 years ago when Disney sought to replace Iger with Bob Chapek, a Disney lifer who also came from the parks and consumer products division. So yeah, that's what it looks like. It's like very much like they've tried the Bob Chapek route before, where somebody from the parks and consumer product divisions, but he had like no knowledge or understanding of how to handle talent from a creative standpoint from the TV and streaming kind of world side of things. Whereas it does feel like now this go around, they're very familiar of how, like, you know, one person is, you know, not everybody's a Bob Iger that can juggle all of that, right? Like somebody has experience really well in one aspect of the business while another one has other types of experience, and combining both of these in the sense of a new CEO and uplifting somebody new into that creative or that president and creative officer role, having them kind of work in tandem, I think really covers all their bases here. So two big names again for you guys to pay attention to: Josh D'Amaro, the new CEO, and Dana Walden, who again seems like she's going to be having a very big role for what we discuss here a lot of the times in regards to the television and movie side of things. So yeah, I'm excited for the new changes that are certainly set to come. And one thing did kind of come out of this, Stuart, that I found interesting, trying to figure out where these CEOs are going to go. We got a new Pirates of the Caribbean 6 update, because apparently, according to Jeff Schneider, the newly appointed CEO Josh D'Arma and President Dana are reportedly prioritizing the revival of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The insider claimed that the Academy Award nominee Christy Cairns, from who wrote 1917, is said to be in talks with the studio to write the screenplay for Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Apparently, they the new CEOs like to take big swings, Stuart. So it seems as though they're one of their priorities now is reviving Pirates of the Caribbean 6. If that gives you a little bit of a taste in regards to who our new CEOs and president certainly is. But what do you think about all this?
It's really hard to say, just because I don't know too much about these two, like in their accomplishments before becoming a part of Disney. So I guess only time will tell. But I guess, you know, from that first announcement of a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you know, kind of neutral on it. Kind of fell off the franchise after the first movie, you know, but I still watch them as they come out, of course.
Yeah, I'll definitely still watch them for sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I will be curious to see. I've already seen the Hunt for Ben Solo campaign kick off even more high gear, as they're like, "Hey, Mr. Josh D'Amaro, look, we got a proposition for you. Maybe you should check out these scripts and let us know what you think here." But it will be interesting to see what him and Dana are okay with in regards to what they're ready to kind of green light, in the sense of not just Star Wars, but other, you know, MCU movies and just other Disney movies ready to go. So we'll see what their new mentality is over at Disney here in the next couple of months. But yeah, they will be taking over come March 18th, and hopefully we'll get ourselves another lengthy interview from them in regards to what their visions are like for Disney moving forward. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But let us know your thoughts, guys. Speaking of Disney, Stuart, we got some news in regards to the television side for the streaming service Disney Plus, as they are set to go ahead and tackle back in the day, I thought that this was a relatively popular book franchise that was gaining a lot of energy. And that was I believe it was the Eragon series of books, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had the the Inheritance Cycle book series. I believe it was referred to as the Inheritance Cycle book series. And one of the first books out of that was Eragon from years ago by Christopher Paolini. There was a movie for Eragon a few years back that just did not gain recognition or do really well at the box office. And so it's been a franchise that really hasn't been taken advantage of since then. But now it looks like the tides are turning for this book series as Disney Plus is ready to go ahead and tackle an Eragon series. Let me go ahead and pull up this article here for you guys. This comes to us, I believe, from Variety. Eragon Disney Plus series sets Todd Harthen and Todd Helbing as co-showrunners. Mark Webb boards as an executive producer. It says the live action TV series has taken a big step forward. Variety has learned that Todd Harthen and Todd Helbing has joined the projects as co-showrunners. Isn't Todd Helbing
Superman and Lois, right?
Yeah. They're set to co-creators on the show alongside with the author of Eragon, Christopher Paolini. All three will serve as executive producers. So they have the co-creator, or I should say the author of the book series attached to this as well. The show remains in development at Disney Plus. It's under an overall deal. It says it's been in development since back in 2022. The official log line for the show states, when Destiny selects an ordinary teenager to become the first dragon rider in over 100 years, he must forge an unbreakable bond with his dragon, master ancient magic, and challenge the Mad King who destroys the riders. Harthen is currently the showrunner of the hit ABC series High Potential. He also created the Fox drama series Rosewood. But yeah, Helbing was the co-creator from Superman and Lois. And he was also a showrunner for a time on The Flash. He's also currently developing a Mech Cadets TV series at Disney Plus. I think I saw a poster for Mech Cadets as well. So yeah, Todd Helbing is getting his is getting out there. The books for the Inheritance Cycle sold more than 40 million copies worldwide. It did have a film adapted back in 2006. Upon its release, and grossed approximately $250 million on a $100 million budget. So it might have actually broke a little bit even. But they were disappointed with the film, unfortunately. So yeah, this was always one of the, back in the time when you had like a really big run of like fantasy shows or fantasy books getting turned into, like, I'm not gonna say that this was meant to be like the next Harry Potter or anything like that. But I remember the popularity of these damn Eragon books or the Inheritance Cycle. I think I read the first one myself, but then after that, I kind of fell off of it. But it did feel like it was the next line of books that were supposed to be like the next man up in regards to really big things for this franchise. And then the movie just kind of fell by the wayside and didn't garner kind of any attention. Like Harry Potter, the Hunger Games. There was also like another Hunger Games-esque. There was another like book series.
Divergent?
Divergent, yeah, was another one. And then they had Twilight. And then it was supposed to be Eragon was supposed to be next, right? Like it was like an era of those young adult novels that were getting turned into movies, and Eragon just did not hit, unfortunately. But now that we've had since 2006, we've had 20 years away kind of from this franchise, and it is one of those things too where we are getting to that period of finding the space of like where some of these franchises really work better as, back then it was only movies. Now we've got streaming services, and series, television series through streaming. And some of these books, especially for book adaptions, just kind of work better as a series in regards to longer form storytelling, kind of week to week, and seasons through seasons. And I also think what they're doing with Percy Jackson, I think, is a really good example of that too. And maybe they see the success of that show and they're thinking, hey, we could probably do the same thing here with Eragon. And so maybe it's getting that Percy Jackson kind of treatment now. And now you're bringing on some really good showrunners also that know how to tell really great and compelling television. So I have, I don't know if this is a series I'm going to end up watching myself, but I mean, just from a second chance opportunity, I think this is probably the right direction to go for something like the Eragon book series.
Yeah, I think that it worked really well for both the Golden Compass and for Percy Jackson when they decided to start over from, because they both had a movie franchise that, they tried to kick off but completely failed. So then they went to television. And I think that's where, both of them really hit the mark. I think that when it came to his dark or the Golden Compass, his Dark Materials, I absolutely love that series. And then of course Percy Jackson has been doing absolutely incredible so far on Disney Plus, so much so that it looks like season 3 is already done filming now.
Oh, nice. They wrap production. Cool. Yeah, I knew they wanted a quick turnaround for that. So yeah.
Yeah, they realized after the gap of season 1 and 2, they're like, oh crap, these kids aren't going to stay young forever. We need a film now.
Yeah, my man looked like he ready to go to college already.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got Night of OA coming through. What's up, Night? Good to see you in here, man. I'm excited to see Eragon get a second chance. Yeah, me too. Again, while I didn't follow all the books out of the book series itself, I know there were a lot of hopes for it, and the fact that it didn't get off the ground that first opportunity, anytime you get a second chance opportunity, hopefully they certainly make the best of it. And the movie going or the television going experience is just so much significantly different than what it was in 2006. And now that we have other types of mediums that can really benefit these shows, or some of these book adaptions, yeah, definitely, I'm hoping for big things from it for sure. Marcelina says, what makes you talk about Eragon and not other book adaptions like Brandon Sanders' New Deal with Apple TV to adapt his world, or Children of Blood and Bone movie coming out next year? It's really just personal preference in regards to things that I'm a little bit more familiar with. Like, I just remember the time period of Eragon being absolutely massive. I've never really read or heard of Children of Blood and Bone before. So it's just things that I've heard about, things that I'm familiar with, things that I know that had a footprint in pop culture at one particular point in time. Just kind of garnered my attention a little bit. So yeah. Sometimes, I especially when trying to set up for this show, I don't necessarily want all DCU or MCU or big franchises type of thing. Sometimes I try and find, obscure things, whether it be video game adaptions, books, being adapted into movies that I'm familiar with. And so we'll just kind of bring them up also. But look, guys, if you are familiar with the Eragon or the Inheritance Cycle book series, let us know your thoughts in regards to it getting a second opportunity in the form of a Disney series. I think, if anything, because of the fact that they now have a showrunner on board, I expect pre-production for this show to be in full swing now. Now that they have people that are shepherding this series, I expect them to start working and writing on it, casting within several months, getting some of the visuals and stuff down, and prop designs ready. So yeah, I do expect production for this to get kickstarted now that they have themselves a showrunner in place. But let me know your levels of excitement for this, guys. I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, my bad. As for Marcelino, he mentioned that Golden Compass could have worked as a film franchise. The real problem was they removed all the religious aspects. I actually do not doubt that. Because yeah, looking at the show, because I haven't read the books, keep that in mind, but like looking at the show compared to the movie, definitely some aspects are similar, but yeah, it definitely feels like there was a lot that was missing from the movie, seeing what they did add into the show, but they didn't put into the movie.
Let me see here. There was something from Marcelino I wanted to. Um, Let me see. Check out the cast in Children of Blood and Bone. It will make you want to see it. Brandon Sanderson is literally praised as the new Tolkien. Okay.
Ooh,
And George
okay.
R. R. Martin. All right. I'm not aware. But yeah, I'm gonna look up his stuff now. Thank you so much for bringing them to my attention, Marcelino. Night of OA says everyone should be happy. I'm not live streaming or podcasting today because it would just be me rambling about Blackpink. Or at least you're more on brand than me. Nice. Good. I appreciate you coming through, Night of Away. Thank you so much, man. Mad Max, Master of the Universe looks awesome. Gunn needs the GTFO of DC ASAP. Peace. Well, appreciate your thoughts, Mad Max. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on the Eragon series. And with that out of the way, speaking of adaptions, we're gonna go from books being adapted into live action to video games being adapted into live action as Baldur's Gate is in the new. Oh, that's such a shitty image, Adam. God, I couldn't have found a better quality image for that. I swore I thought this was like a 1080p quality at least. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. No disrespect to the Baldur's Gate franchise. I didn't mean to represent you guys that terribly, but Baldur's Gate is in the news this week. I'm so sorry. But apparently they're going to be getting an adaptation too from one of, if not one of the current great television showrunner. Now, I'm not familiar with Baldur's Gate. I never played Baldur's Gate in my life. Stuart, have you ever played Baldur's Gate?
Oh, I think I got like, I'm almost ashamed to admit it, I probably have over 300 hours in Baldur's Gate 3 now. I put a lot of time to Baldur's Gate 3. It is one of the most addicting, amazing games I've ever played.
Okay.
And it got worse. It got worse when they started doing console mods, because now it's like I play through the game all the time now, pretending I'm God essentially in that game.
I love it. So you might be pleased to hear that it's getting a television series adaptation. Video games to television, I think, is like the new thing, Stuart. I mean, I feel like I'm hearing more video games being adapted into live action series than I am movies. And maybe for this franchise, this is for the better. Let's go ahead and dive into this one because there's a big name attached to this, Stuart. And his name is Craig Mazin, who's set up as the showrunner. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because he's done two incredible series for HBO, Chernobyl, and he's also the co-creator of the Last of Us series. This is according to Deadline. Baldur's Gate TV series continuing games story in works at HBO from the Last of Us co-creator Craig Mazin. It says Craig Mazin, co-creator of arguably the most acclaimed TV video game adaptation to date, The Last of Us, will be taking on another hugely popular acclaimed game title next, Baldur's Gate 3, which is set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. HBO is developing Baldur's Gate, a drama series based on a Wizard of the Coast video game franchise, with Mazin attached to create, write, executive produce, and showrun the TV adaptation. It says Chris Perkins, former longtime head of story at Hasbro subsidiary Wizards of the Coast, which is behind the D&D game universe, will serve as a consultant. So they're getting like head of story consultant work here involved. Unlike HBO's The Last of Us, which retold the story of the PlayStation games, Baldur's Gate TV series will be a continuation to the games, telling a story that takes place immediately after the events of Baldur's Gate 3, as the characters old and new are dealing with the ramifications of the events in the third game. Mazin's passion for Baldur's Gate 3 and its characters and story led to his desire to adapt the TV series. He has proudly completed the developed game on the challenging honor mode, and he is also a longtime D&D fan, a dungeon master who has been playing the game weekly for the past 15 years, including tonight. This is what Mazin says. He says, after putting nearly 1,000 hours into Baldur's Gate 3, it is a dream come true to be able to continue the story that Wizards of the Coast created. I am a devoted fan of D&D and the brilliant way that their gifted team adapted it. I can't wait to help bring Baldur's Gate and all of its incredible characters to life, with as much respect and love as we can, and I am deeply grateful for Gabe Morano and his team at Hasbro for entrusting me with this incredibly important property. With no ties to another Baldur's Gate in development, Mazin has freedom over the direction of the story, making it a more traditional show versus The Last of Us. So yeah, Mazin, fresh off of Chernobyl and The Last of Us, apparently a huge Baldur's Gate and dungeon master himself, is tackling this, Stuart. As somebody who has played the game and familiar with this world more than I am, I would love to hear your thoughts on Craig Mazin taking over.
Man, this is just, it's so weird because this is the last video. This is not a video game I would have expected this guy to adapt. Especially after like seeing The Last of Us. It seemed like he had a very specific style, because even I haven't finished Chernobyl, but I've seen a couple episodes, and just that style matches The Last of Us. Like, you look at those two shows side by side, you can tell it's the same showrunner. I do not know how he's going to bring that to Baldur's Gate, because it's a completely different world than either of them. It's very much the game itself. I mean, I wouldn't call it like an outright comedy or anything, but it doesn't take itself seriously. Like, I mean, you've seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that the video game Baldur's Gate really feels more in line with that type of not only aesthetic, but essentially that type of humor. And of course, obviously, it's the same world. It takes place in the D&D world. But it's like, it's so funny. I can't imagine what the show is going to look like with him as the showrunner. And I don't want to say that's a bad thing. I'm not trying to say that like, this show is going to be awful, because it's not going to match the tone and style of the game. I'm kind of more intrigued because of this. I feel like the tone and style is going to be so different from the game. What we get in this is going to be just something incredibly unique. But yeah, so color me intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm incredibly hyped for this, but I am very intrigued to see how this turns out. I also feel like if you really want to represent the world of D&D, faithfully, and give us like the perfect Baldur's Gate property, this is gonna need a budget. Like, and I don't mean like this needs to be bigger than The Last of Us in terms of its in terms of scale, in terms of how much money would need to go into a show like this if you really want to capture the feel of the D&D universe. Like, it's definitely going to be an expensive show, I think. So yeah, a lot of things I'm intrigued by. I think number one thing, because so from what I hear, it takes place after Baldur's Gate 3, and it's not like Fallout, where the Fallout show doesn't commit to an ending that you would have had from the video games. It's very much like there's enough of a time jump, so it doesn't really matter which ending you picked from Fallout New Vegas. If you squint your eyes, every ending basically works for this new Fallout TV show. You can't do that with Baldur's Gate. The endings are way too different for every like decision that you make within the Baldur's Gate 3. So if this takes place after Baldur's Gate 3, they're going to have to commit to an ending. They're going to have to say, this is definitively how this character ended their journey before this show took off, essentially. So curious to see how that plays out. I'm really excited to see these characters, what they're going to look like in live action, who they're going to cast. Especially Karlach. She is like my favorite character in Baldur's Gate 3. I am so excited to see who they cast to play her in live action. I hope again, I don't mean to throw shade at the actress playing Abby in The Last of Us 2. But man, please actually hire someone who's like bulky and someone that actually looks like they can fit the size of someone like Karlak. Because like I think that was like one issue I had with Last of Us season 2. The actress that they had playing Abby just didn't have the muscle, the physique that you had from Abby from the video games. And normally that wouldn't bother me, but it's so rare that you get muscle women in media that I felt like Last of Us 2 was like, or Last of Us season 2 was like the perfect opportunity for that, and they didn't take it. So I hope they don't miss that opportunity again with Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, I guess like, yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't call myself hyped though at this moment.
Yeah, I think for me, as somebody who hasn't played the video game, I think two things stand out to me. One, I'm definitely gonna watch it regardless. And why am I gonna watch it? Because Craig Mazin's involved. I've loved everything that I've seen that this man has done, from Chernobyl to The Last of Us. He has certainly gained my trust in regards to bringing stories to life. I am curious as to what you mentioned though about like his particular style to television, how it seems to differ from sort of the tone of that of Baldur's Gate. I think this would be a really great opportunity then for Craig Mazin to really show kind of his range in regards to what he is kind of capable of doing from a character and storytelling and just tone point of view. So, but if Craig Mazin is involved, I'm definitely going to be checking this out. I also will say I have a feeling that like this kind of puts a definitive answer into will we get Last of Us season 4. To me, this makes me feel like season 3 of The Last of Us will in fact be the end. If Neil Druckmann has already ditched the series and he's gone working on other things, and Craig Mazin is really sort of the sole person running the ship for season 3, and now Craig Mazin is attached to another television series project that he's show running, writing, and and executive producing. Like, this man is going to be busy with this show. This just seems to me like The Last of Us season 3 is done. HBO is going to wash their hands of it, and they're just going to move on to other things here. And so it looks as though Craig Mazin has certainly planted his flag in Baldur's Gate. So I think this says a lot more about The Last of Us on television as a franchise, because if they wanted to go with season 4, it just seems odd to me that you would bring on a new showrunner, new writers, just for one more season of television. So I really do think that Last of Us season 3 is going to be the end, and Craig Mazin will certainly move on to this. I mean, look, if Craig Mazin is a dungeon master, Stuart, if he's been working in this world of D&D for such a long time, like, I'm ready for him to bring his dungeon master material to life. Like, I want to see him go into his Duffer Brothers bag and make like his own role-playing game television series by using Baldur's Gate as like as his as his example, and really lead as a dungeon master for this. So maybe he is the man for the job. He just hasn't been asked to do that before on television, and this is his opportunity, Stuart, to be a dungeon master on the biggest stage possible.
Maybe this was like what he wanted to do all along after Chernobyl. He's like, I want to do a Dungeons and Dragons movie, but first I have to prove to them that I can do a video game, adaptation really well. So he chose The Last of Us because that was the easiest, safest bet. And now that he's proven that he can do that, he's like, all right, now I'm going to ramp it up to 11 and go for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, it was all part of the plan. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. If you've been a Baldur's Gate fan, let me know what you think about this announcement. Maybe you're a Craig Mazin fan. What do you think about this announcement? Certainly go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And then with that out of the way, one last topic that we're going to be diving into, Stuart. We've been getting some great horror movies and franchises lately. In fact, I guess Send Help is not necessarily a full-on horror film, but it's more like a thriller as well. Sometimes a psychological thriller and aspects of it. But apparently a popular cult classic franchise in Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in the news here this week, as we have not seen the last of this franchise. We've seen a lot of movies from this franchise over the years, but now, Stuart, they're going the route of a television series. I don't know how you execute this in a television form, but they're going for it, as it has officially found a home over at of all places, A24. And when it comes to A24, look, A24 movies in general are usually just like not what you expect them to be, and always has something else hidden with inside of it, or some sort of unique story to tell. And now one of those stories is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. According to Deadline.com, A24 wins the rights. Television series is in the works. JT Molnar and even Glenn Powell are executive producing on this. A24 finally is in the works of the next iteration of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, with a TV series from JT Molnar being the first project out of the gate. This comes after winning a months-long bidding war for the 1974 Horrors franchise TV and film rights, which we've been told about. A24 won those rights back in September in an auction. Let me see. Series EPs include Spooky Pictures' Roy Lee and Steven Schneider, who are reteaming with Molnar after Strange Darling. I don't know if that's a movie or a television series. I'm not familiar with that. A movie also is in early development with the same producing team, but Molnar isn't attached to that project. The movie isn't packaged yet, and it's not clear if it's headed to Netflix as previously reported. So, A24 has won the TV and movie rights. While the movie seems in very early development, I highly doubt there's really any movement on it. It seems as though their focus is now on the television side of things. Look, I don't know how many times you can tell the Texas Chainsaw Massacre story. It's been done several times. I guess if there's any fascination, my fascination is it being in a TV series form. How do you pull that off? What aspects of freshness are you going to introduce to it that we haven't necessarily seen already? Is this a limited series? I mean, how many seasons are you really going to focus on? So I'm definitely going to need a little bit more details before I get hyped about this in any way, shape, or form. But as somebody living in Texas, I mean, this is a classic movie. And A24, I'm a big fan of what A24 tends to do. I need to actually count how many A24 movies I saw last year, because I swear every time the credits rolled, I swore I saw A24 everywhere. But I tend to be big fans of what they're doing, so I'm open to it. I just don't know how many times I can watch the same story over and over again and be compelled. But what do you think, Stu?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, because I really like the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's an absolute classic to me. And then, of course, the sequels just, get more and more ridiculous after another. And then you get to that whole point where it's like they just stop making sequels. And it's just like every movie that came out was like either a reboot, a prequel, or like a sequel to the first movie, but ignoring everything else in between. So, yeah, I guess a TV series is an interesting direction to take it now. I guess it's something new. it's interesting who they got attached for it. I do like that it's A24 producing, so I do think it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be like something that doesn't have to rely necessarily too heavily on anything other than the first movie. I don't imagine like anything else that's come out since the first movie is going to really matter for the show. But I am kind of curious to see what new take they have on this franchise. And with Glenn Powell being involved, I'm very curious as what his role is going to be. If he's only going to be a producer, or if he's actually like starring in the show as well. And if he's starring in it, is he going to be playing like you know, one of the protagonists, or is he going to be part of the, you know, Leatherface family? Is he going to be like the dad, the crazy dad in the movie or something? Yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see what direction they take with it.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point with Glenn Powell producing it. I do wonder if he's producing it with the intention of maybe starring in it. I wouldn't mind seeing him star in it. You know, I'm not gonna lie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that they released back in 2003 with Jessica Biel, I'm actually a fan of that movie. I think that might be like a guilty pleasure of mine. I actually kind of enjoyed that remake. It's got terrible scores on Rotten Tomato, but it is one of those movies that I've seen kind of countless times. But after that, I don't know if I've really watched too much Texas Chainsaw Massacre after that. I know they've done countless ones. I think there was another one they just released in 2022 or something like that. But it's been a minute. But we'll see what they wind up doing with this. I trust A24. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out in the realm of television series, and if we get any more details for the series itself, whether that be casting or movie information, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is set to return. But yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts. And that will do it for all of our main topics today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly sticking around. But Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed. And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer question portion of the show. If you would like to find out how do I submit a live viewer question over, well, have no fear. Let me go ahead and show you guys how to do that. Let me go over to my YouTube channel here. So give me one moment. Here we go. So every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will make a live viewer question post. You're going to go over to our YouTube channel, as you see here. Click on this post tab right here. Voila. And there we go. 17 hours ago, live viewer questions. We got 13 comments. Let's go ahead and sort these out and see if we can get through these as quickly as we can. Oh man, Marcelino coming out of the gates with the whole page.
Dang.
We know that a review for Netflix Avatar had been mixed, but if we ever got get to Korra, does the live action remake provide an opportunity to fix the problems that season 2 of Korra had? Because I won't sugarcoat it, season 2 is terrible. That season relied on love triangles, which made every character unlikable and come off as an a-hole. Season 2 also was inconsistent with its storytelling at first. It seemed at first Korra had to learn that not everything was black and white, and that you need to create new methods to balance both sides. But then halfway through, they throw that out the window and say, no, everything is black and white, and all you have to do is defeat the bad guys and everything will be good.
Yeah, I would see it as an opportunity to, because like I'm kind of with you. I definitely wasn't a fan of Legend of Korra season 2. I thought it had one of the best 2-parters, however, which was of course the origin of the first Avatar. I thought that was really cool, but other than that, yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Korra season 2, and I think they really made up for it though with season 3. But I think they have the potential to fix it if it goes straight to Netflix.
He also says, did you ever watch the animated 2007 movie TMNT? I believe I did. Yes, looking at the cover art. I do believe I did see that in theaters. Only one time though. It was back when superhero movies had to be dark and also a continuation of the live 90s movie. The director confirmed it was set in the same universe, and there's a scene where Splinter has a collection of items from the live action movie. The story is that years after the Turtles had defeated Shredder off screen, they all disbanded and done their own thing. It mainly focuses on Raph and Leo's dynamic, where the relationship has fractured. I do remember that. Meanwhile, an immoral billionaire who was once an ancient warrior revives his dead brothers as stone warriors to collect 13 monsters that he unleashed on the world. But the stone warriors revolted, realizing that their mortality will end once all the monsters are collected. Chris Evans was Casey, Sarah Michelle Gellar as April O'Neil, and Patrick Stewart as the billionaire. An entire trilogy was even planned, with each movie focusing on a different turtle. The second one would have focused on Mike joining the Foot Clan and Shredder's return. The third one would have focused on the Triceraton invasion. These never happened because the studio made it eventually made the Astro Boy movie, and that bankrupt the studio to be shut down. That sucks. I do remember being a fan of the film. I believe I enjoyed it for the most part. But yeah, and then they went on and did other things. They just never followed up with it. I remember it vaguely, seeing it in theaters for the first time, but I don't think I ever revisited it. What did you think about that, Stuart? And do you recall if you ever wanted more movies out of that?
Man, I don't know if I didn't see it in theaters, but I did watch it like on DVD when it came to Blockbuster. That's how long ago the movie came out, back when Blockbuster was still around. So I remember enjoying it. I actually didn't realize it was a sequel to the live action Ninja Turtles movie. I always thought that it was just a continuation of the 2003 animated Ninja Turtles series. But I guess not. So, but yeah, no, I remember enjoying it and thinking that the animation at the time was absolutely incredible looking. It is too bad, because I do think that would have been like a perfect place to start a whole new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise.
Well, say it again. That last part, Stuart. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just thought like that would have been a perfect place to start a new Ninja Turtles franchise. Was that movie? TMNT.
That movie?
That would have been perfect for a trilogy. It kind of sucks hearing that like Astro Boy, which I get, not a lot of people saw in theaters. I still haven't seen their Astro Boy movie, but yeah, it does suck that was the thing that bankrupted their studio.
Yeah, I wasn't an impression that they were gonna do more things with this after that movie, but yeah, it just never happened. And last question from him. He says, have you seen DC's newest transgender character? Her name is Alia Ratko, aka Featherweight, and the trans community has labeled her as a token shallow representation accessory. The reason why is because she's just an amalgamation of every negative stereotype that the trans community has been attacked and vilified as. Alia's introduction starts off with her not to be referred by her dead name. That's mistake number one. Never introduce a trans character by not referring to them as their dead name. It will just normalize and make it okay to call them by their dead names. Elia's clothing design is that of femboys. Femboys are cisgender men who like to act feminine. So by lumping those two groups as the same, come across as trans women are just men in dresses. Alia's power is super strength, which is not only is just a generic superpower to have, but it also reinforces the stigma that trans women are just as strong as men. And finally, Alia is somewhere in her 20s, and she flirts with and kisses Clarion, the witch boy. Now, to be clear, Clarion is hundreds of years old and is supposed to resemble a teenager. But with all those other stereotypes added, doesn't create a fair balance. Thereby, it comes across as trans character flirting with minors. While the creators had intentions that that excuse can no longer be implied because the LGBT community and other communities are being attacked daily. So to use an excuse that they had good intentions comes across as a scapegoat for them not to take full accountability, because all this did was harm the trans community by creating a token figure, and people who already hated trans people were given more leverage to hate trans people. Remember when Marvel tried to make the new Warriors, in 2020 by literally making the characters' names and powers all negative stereotypes, but were so hated that they scrapped them entirely. That's what should have happened. And to make things worse, there are many characters that start off as stereotypes like Shang-Chi, but later writers were able to make him into a better written character. Alia will never get that chance. Alia will fall into obscurity and be forgotten. The damage was so bad that no writer, especially a trans writer, will want to write her better and not rely on her stereotypical attributes. I don't know if I'm not going to go that far to say that she'll never get that chance. I do believe it really all comes down to who's sort of writing the character. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's the granddaughter to Ra's al Ghul. I believe she's the daughter of Nisa, if I'm not mistaken. So I do think, just because the fact alone that she's connected to Ra's al Ghul and Nisa, and just that lineage of characters, I could see her being a worthwhile character to certainly bring back and utilize. So I don't think she'll fall into obscurity and be forgotten. I mean, is there a chance? Absolutely, but we got to have more positivity in regards to, not all the damage has kind of been done, that she gets the opportunity to be told and maybe redesigned after certainly more appearances. I don't know too much about Alia Racco as Featherweight. I mean, I did find a couple of panels worth reading. I know she introduces herself as Alia to a group of people, and then she does refer to them, or at least mention to them, like, please don't call me by her dead name, which is Al. She says, please don't call me Al. Like, I hate it when people call me Al. So I mean, I think the fact that she's they didn't introduce her by her dead name. They definitely introduced her by Alia, but the panel that I saw was her acknowledging to them to please don't call me by that name. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. But I mean, but again, I'm not part of the trans community. I would think that would be almost a given, considering the fact that if people don't necessarily know who you are, I feel like that's a fair introduction to yourself to other people, so they don't necessarily make that mistake that a lot of us who aren't familiar or comfortable with the trans community, that don't know all the rules, or don't necessarily know how to act or respond or how to talk to people. So I think the fact that she at least mentions to them, please don't refer to me by this name, I personally don't find a problem with that, so much as she's making more of a stance to confirm in front of everybody as to like who she is. Now, in regards to the clothing and the power base, I mean, look, maybe you're right in regards to that. I really can't speak on that whatsoever. But the Clarion thing I find interesting. He is supposed to be like hundreds of years old, and in the panel that I read, she he tries to like insinuate something, and she catches on to it, and she shuts it down. But she does give him a kiss on the cheek, and it's just like, call me in a few years, like to suggest like when you kind of get older. A little weird, a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe you just didn't even need to deliver that line whatsoever. But the character's also 100 years old, even though he is portrayed and visually looks like a minor. So I can understand the insecurities about that also, and how it kind of certainly comes across. But yeah, it didn't feel like anything sexual when I read it, but it's just an odd line to even suggest, like, I don't know. But so yeah, certain things I can understand the pushback against, but let's try and be a little bit more positive in the sense of like this character will get a better opportunity. I believe she was created by two men, if I'm not mistaken, Greg Rucka and somebody else. I can't quite remember, but maybe if she's actually told through the lens of you know, a female writer or another writer down the line. Maybe they'll take a little bit better care. But you know, I feel like trans characters are few and far between when it comes to, I mean, I feel like they're definitely growing in numbers for sure in comic books, but so I think they'll definitely get their opportunity to shine just under the lens of a much better writer in time. So let's not give up all hope just yet.
Yeah, I think just like in general, you know, it's good to let your concerns be noted to the authors, to the writers, and everything. You know, I just I would say that I agree with, like, I know nothing about the character other than what you've told me about the character Marcelino. However, I would think that with that last bit, I would probably still disagree, even despite everything we've heard about this character, only because I think that when it comes to the world of comic books, you know, there's always flexibility for characters to grow and change based on the writer. So personally, I do think that even if this has had like such a really rough start, you know, I don't think it's necessarily unsalvageable. I do think that if you get the right writer, you know, either, you know, a trans writer or someone who just understands the trans community a lot more, you know, I think that you could still salvage the character, and this character could still work. I just, you know,
Yeah,
I feel like it's so much easier for people to just want to, and not just, you know, with LGBTQ themed superheroes. I mean, just in general, it feels like so many times like people just would rather discard it and then go back to something familiar instead of just try to develop it and fix it. Because, and here's the big thing, and I know this is like a very different scale, because the scale that I'm talking about here, the problem was the character was boring. But like, look at Miles Morales. When Miles Morales first made his appearance in the Ultimate Universe, he did not have the hype and the praise that he has like today. A lot of people thought that his original run was kind of boring and that he didn't really have much in terms of character or personality outside of the fact that he just wasn't Peter Parker. But like, as time went on and new writers took on the character, he became so much more beloved, you know, over time, that like nowadays there are a good amount of people out there. I don't know, like, I can't give percentage or anything like that, but I can guarantee you that if I were to say Spider-Man in front of like 100 people, a good chunk of those people would think Miles Morales and would not think Peter Parker. So I do think that you can still salvage characters even if they had like a really rough start.
First off, I do want to come to the defense of Miles Morales' first run here. I will say, Brian Michael Bendis, I thought did I personally, this is somebody that, you know, I tried to keep up with the Miles Morales run. I think he did incredible work, at least in regards to getting Miles Morales recognized in regards to telling compelling enough stories for people to recognize Miles Morales. But I do think it was still very much in a time where people still just viewed Peter Parker as Spider-Man. So I think it was really hard for Miles to gain that traction. But I thought Brian Michael Bendis did a phenomenal job in introducing us to him. And I don't even know how many issues he might have had, over like 100 issues for his Miles Morales run. But I do think as other writers and stuff came on board and we eventually wind up getting video games and stuff, then I definitely do think it wind up putting him in that realm of also being referred to as Spider-Man. He's had a long journey to get to that point in time. But it's definitely been a worthwhile one for sure. But you know, your point is definitely well taken, in the sense of like, you know, you got to give these characters opportunities to grow, and sometimes it does take, you know, the next writer or the following writer or a buildup of writers to build those characters up exactly as to where we certainly want them. Some characters aren't going to necessarily swing out of the gate immediately. Yeah, like even Night of Oasis says Bendis's work on Ultimate Universe is some of my favorite all-time comic works from him. Like, yeah, I really do love that role, and I think it's of what Bendis was able to do with Miles, because I think of what he did with his run. People wind up taking notice of who Miles Morales actually was, and then I think people took that opportunity and built upon it to bring him to live action and where he certainly is today. So yeah, I was a big fan of his work also. But I recommend everybody certainly check it out if you get that opportunity. But yeah, give Alia some time. I think other writers will be on board for sure.
Yeah, definitely make sure your concerns are noted, or definitely voice your concerns about the character. But yeah, I would just say that like it's not unsalvageable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. AJ, what's up, AJ? What if Rocky returned in the anniversary special wearing the movie suit? While the armored muscle suit from the 1994 films were owned by Fox and legally barred from the TV series, it remains a curious irony that these screen-used costumes have been frequently permitted to display at Power Morphicon. Fans have long speculated that using the movie suits for Rocky in specials like Forever Red or Dimensions in Danger would have logically distinguished him from Jason Lee Scott, especially since Cardenas holds the unique distinction of being the older actor to have worn that specific cinematic armor, considering that Rocky's legacy is often overshadowed by his transition from Jason's understudy to Tommy's subordinate, a reputation that would have worsened had the original Forever Red script succeeded in casting him as Tommy's butler. Would introducing the movie suit as a multiverse variant have finally given Rocky the distinct identity and respect he deserves?
I'm gonna be honest, like as cool as that kind of sounds, I think it would have looked really weird to have like the movie armor suit, but like, side by side with the spandex suits. I don't know.
Oh man, I think that would have put Rocky on like a whole nother league. Like, imagine Homeboy showing up with armored Power Ranger costume, and then he's looking next to everybody, and they got all these little spandex outfits on. Like, I'm looking to the dude with the armor suit, my guy. Like, that's my leader. As I'm wearing these pajama looking costumes. No, I don't know. I there's a part of me that wants to think so. There's a part of me that kind of thinks so. Like if Rocky legit showed up with the 1995 armor, I think it would have definitely put a little bit more respect on his name. I think it definitely would have separated him from the other Rangers. Like you said, if he's showing up with armor compared to everybody else next to him in spandex, I'm putting to this dude to a much higher level than everybody else immediately. So yeah, no, I think it would have distinctively separated him, especially in just the television side of things, had they decided to utilize it. And I don't necessarily know if we would be I think we would still look at Rocky in the sense of like, man, he really kind of flourished more in his Zeo role. But if you had him pop up in these anniversary specials with the red armored on, oh yeah, I think we'd be talking about Rocky in a different light. Totally. That's just me though. That's just me.
Oh man, that would have been interesting though. Again, a lot better than what I still think that's so weird and kind of disrespectful at the same time that like the showrunner the showrunner for Wild Force wanted him to be Tommy's butler. It's just like
the disrespect.
Did you just hate Rocky or something?
The disrespect. We got Peg C here. Peg C, the finale of Goes User and the finale of the Super Sentai franchise. What are some of your top 5 Sentai series you've enjoyed? I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I don't necessarily know if my top 5. I feel like I've got 4. I don't know if I ever filled out the 5th one in my head, but it's definitely Go Kaiger. Is definitely Go Busters, ToQger, Kira Major, damn, that's what it was. I remember having 4, but I was like, what is my 5th one going to be? I'll have to think about that. What about you, Stu? Who do you have? Do you have a top 5 series?
Q Ranger would definitely be my number 1. Go Kaiger would probably be my number 2. SPD would probably be my number 3, Deca Ranger. And number 4, I really enjoyed Kira Major as well. And what would my number 5 be?
I'll probably will put is that the series I'm thinking of it is? I might actually put Die Ranger up there as my 5th.
Ooh, I think, man, it feels weird putting this on my number 5 because I haven't watched it all the way through, but I'm still gonna put Magi Ranger as number 5.
Nice. I like it. Okay, cool. So you have your 5, I have my 5. Okay, awesome. What are your thoughts on Cinema United, which used to be called NATO, National Associations of Theater Owners, saying that the Netflix Warner merger would be catastrophic? I mean, I don't think they're wrong per se in it. You know, Ted Sarandos has been saying a lot of things to try and ease the worries of people. Saying things like, oh, we're going to honor the traditional movies window. We're not necessarily changing anything over at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Studios is still going to be its own thing. We're going to let them be their own thing, sort of thing. So don't worry, everybody. Like, it's okay. Look, man, I still don't know if I trust this dude. I still just don't know if I trust this dude. You know, with him talking about the idea of like, the windows of time period, the 45-day window sort of thing. I don't know. I just feel like this guy is just gonna pull a fast one on us. Like I want to believe Ted. I want to believe him. And if he's true about it, then I think it's okay. But I think a lot of these people are concerned and worried that they don't believe him. And prior to what Ted said, that was my worry. It's one of the reasons why I don't want Warner Brothers to sell at all. I don't want them to sell to Netflix. I don't want them to sell to Warner Brothers. I mean, to Paramount. If I had my way, I personally would not want them to sell. And the word that I have with Warner Brothers is, or that I have with Netflix, is the idea of, you know, they like limited windows. They like 2-week opportunities, maybe 3 weeks, and then they're ready to kind of pull the plug and put it right on their streaming service as an exclusive. I think this undercuts how much money your movie can make at the box office. I think that's going to really hinder and hurt movie theaters. It feels like does that turn Warner Brother movies into limited run movies? Do you have 2 weeks? Do you have 3 weeks? I mean, hell, do you even have a month to see this movie in theaters before they like you said, right, Stuart? Like the worry of if it underperforms in 2 to 3 weeks, are they just going to automatically pull it and put it somewhere else? I mean, what happens if we get to the point to where it's like movie theaters don't have enough movies for all the screens that they have, because a lot of these things are being pulled early, sort of thing. So I do think if Ted is lying, I do think it could really hurt the movie industry, whether that be production studios, but also just the theaters certainly themselves. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that people are talking in that, but I think they're talking that way because they just don't believe Ted from Netflix. But we'll have to see. I think they have logical reason to worry though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with them. I think this is a terrible thing that could happen, but I still, and I've said this before, and as of now, I'm still sticking to it. I do prefer them merging with Netflix over Paramount, but I still think it's a lose-lose, and it sucks it's a major blow to the film industry, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll see. We'll see how this turns out, though, for sure. And then lastly from Peg C, do you think Antoine Fuqua's next musical biopic should be The Life of Prince? Bonus question, Kenan Thompson, who played Russ Tyler in D23 and D2 and D3, was spotted at the Anaheim Ducks NHL game holding the script for a potential Mighty Ducks 4. What? Would you like to see a fourth Mighty Ducks movie? Absolutely. Let's do it. Why not? Why
Didn't they
not?
already have a TV series that was like the Mighty Ducks 4?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But I would love to see a fourth Mighty Ducks movie if they do one. So I'm open to it. But do I think Antoine Fuqua's next musical should be The Life of Prince? Why not? I mean, if this one works out really well, I don't know what the rights are to Prince, but he definitely lived an interesting life. I wouldn't mind seeing that one for sure. He's a brilliant dude. I'd love to learn more about him.
Every time I hear Prince, though, I always think of that like really bad joke they somehow got away with in Animaniacs, where they're looking for fingerprints, and Dot's like, "Hey, look, I found Prince," and she's holding Prince in her arms, and he's like, "No, fingerprints," and she looks at him and goes, "I don't think so," and then throws him off.
I love it. Now, anytime I think of Prince now, I associate it with Stranger Things, sadly. I literally I was driving to work the other day, and When Doves Cry came on, and it immediately reminded me of Stranger Things. And so after listening to When Doves Cry, I had to immediately go to Purple Rain next. Like it's just a natural progression for me now. And every time that I listen to Purple Rain, all I think about is 11 and Mike. Like that's literally all I think about when I listen to Prince music now. So thanks a lot, Stranger Things. But yeah, give me a Prince biopic. I'll take it.
Duffer Brothers are just like somewhere, and they're like, I don't know why, but I feel the need to say you're welcome.
yeah. That's all I think about when I hear those two Prince songs now. Blossom. For all the heroes DC has made all these years, which one is the most underrated to you?
Ooh, underrated DC superhero.
I don't know if Captain Atom gets as much love as he should. I would like to see Captain Atom used a hell of a lot more. Same thing with Black Lightning. I don't know if they get used to their fullest potential. Although I have been seeing some Black Light. They have a Black Lightning and Static comic book, I think, came out recently. But yeah, I'm always down for more Black Adam and more Captain. Not Black Adam, Black Lightning. I'm always open for more Black Lightning and more Captain Atom.
Yeah, plus I think Black Lightning's in. Isn't he a part of DCKO?
He is not. He is not.
Oh, I thought I saw him on. Okay.
I mean, he might have been like in the early rounds, but if we're talking, if we're talking further rounds, no, not so much.
My answer, I don't know if I would call him underrated, but you know what? A lot of people, whenever I bring him up in conversation, no one knows who the hell I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and say Connor Kent Superboy, not to be confused with Jonathan Kent Superboy, specifically the one who is a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor, featured in the live action Titan series.
I like it. Knight of OA says, I would like to see more from the Signal. Really cool twist on the Batman side of things. Yeah, I think that's Duke Thomas, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's a dope outfit, dope costume for him. The Bat family just continues to grow. I've definitely have lost track. He says also want to see more from Detective Chimp. All right, I like it, Nida. Digging in his DC bag there. I love it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think like in Titans, there was like that one scene where Dick Grayson sees Batman's laptop and he's like, oh, potential new recruits. And I think Duke Thomas was like one of the names on there.
Nice. Yeah, part of me also was going to say Power Girl, but I think she's getting some shine right now in Justice League Red. So she's definitely being utilized. But yeah, good names, guys. If you guys have any DC heroes that you feel are underrated, please leave your thoughts in the live chat for sure. Besides Power Rangers, Marvel, and DC, what kind of other fandoms do you like? I mean, Star Wars. Hello. I'm trying to think what other fandoms do I like.
So wait, apart from which ones again?
Power Rangers, Marvel, and DC.
Oh, Kai. Where do I start? For me, I'm last couple of years I've been getting really back into Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game specifically, not the anime. But absolutely, it's so much fun. I'm also a pretty big fan of like D&D. I love horror. I think like actually like if it was like, you know, any kind of movie franchise, I'm probably the biggest fan of, because I'm, you know, first and foremost, I'm a movie fan more than anything else. But if I were to take a specific genre of movies, it would probably be horror that I'm like the biggest fan of. So I guess you could say I'm like a horror fan. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. I'm also a fan of I don't play video games as often as I used to. So I guess you could call me a retro video game fan. Yeah.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is up there for me. Dragon Ball is up there for me. Doctor Who is up there for me. And I would even say Star Trek. I'm not necessarily like I wouldn't call myself a Trekkie, but it is a world that I don't mind being in, and I do like visiting whenever I get the opportunity to certainly do so. So those would be so. Oh, and I used to be really big into Final Fantasy growing up from a video game perspective, but it's been it's been so long since I've played on a regular basis. But I used to love Final Fantasy up until like the I think I fell off after once it started getting to like the PS4 stuff. So like after Titus and the Final Fantasy 10 and X2 sort of stuff, I started falling off after that. But I used to be pretty heavy into Final Fantasy, probably because I love Lord of the Rings and that type of RPG stuff. And then a big wrestling fan also outside of that.
That is one thing I wish I could get into is wrestling. Hey, get ready to cringe. You know what my two favorite Final Fantasy games are?
Which ones?
6, 7. And I'm like not even kidding. Those are my two favorite Final Fantasy games. I just realized, I have an opportunity here.
I'm pretty sure I just saw our viewership just drop immediately.
Suddenly our subscriber count just like goes down.
Neither Moe says wrestling rules. Yeah, it absolutely does. Although it's hard for me to watch their pay-per-views right now because they are really only showing them on ESPN, which is unfortunate. And I'm not paying extra for ESPN for some WWE. But if they can fix that minor thing, then I'll probably be watching on a more regular basis. Blossom says, been a while since I've done this. It just hit me. Since Goes use your morphs with rings, wouldn't it be cool if Tokuja heroes morph with necklaces or earrings or some kind of gem from their home world? I dig the earrings, and I would also be cool with bracelets. For some reason, when you say morphing with earrings, I think of Dragon Ball Z and the fusion earrings that they had. That's for some reason that's like the first thing that comes to mind. But yeah, I dig the earrings, and I would even say bracelets as a morphing object would be dope.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel Bose says the ESPN thing is a bummer. It's like $30 with the Disney Plus bundle. I know I'm not paying $30. I'm not paying $30. Like I already paid this. Like I literally already pay for a Disney bundle for Disney, ESPN, and Hulu, like as a three-way package. And so when they said ESPN, I'm like, yes, I've got it, but no, I got to pay an additional amount for that ESPN unlimited bundle. And I'm like, I'm just not doing it. So I miss all the pay-per-views now ever since then. So they should just all move over to Netflix at this point. Like Paramount has made a great deal with UFC, where now like UFC shows all of their events on Paramount Plus. So if you have Paramount Plus, you can access it immediately. Like that's what I loved about Peacock for WWE, but now UFC has that with Paramount. So me and the girlfriend have been watching a lot more UFC now. WWE should just go over straight to Netflix at this point and just offer all of their streaming services on Netflix, their pay-per-views. But I don't know. I don't know how long this ESPN collaboration is going to go for, but I'm not a fan already.
It's weird that they haven't done that already, given how much Netflix is paid to have WWE on their streaming service. Like, if I was going to pay that much, I would be like, no, we're getting everything on our streaming service. No, we're not just getting some occasional stuff. No, you're giving us the pay-per-views as well.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to like what the viewership is for WWE's pay-per-views. I wonder if they see a hit in it, if ESPN is really gaining anything from it. I really have no idea, but I'm just not a fan of the collaboration right now. Marky Parco, in the ironic Thanksgiving episode, the one where Ross got high, Rachel Green accidentally combines shepherd's pie with a British truffle. It says, I don't know. The group struggles to swallow a dessert layered with ladyfingers, jam, custard, and sauteed beef. Oh, that sounds gross. While Joey fashionably enjoys the dish, Ross gags and claims it tastes like feet, leading one to wonder, how exactly does Ross know what feet taste like? Leave it up to Ross to know, bro. Okay. Like if there's any character that would know, it would be Joey and Ross for sure. But Ross's way of finding out would be completely different from Joey's. Like the most embarrassing way possible. Ross knows why feet taste the way they do.
Yeah, I think that you'd probably have to ask Rachel how he knows that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. My friends call me Joseph. While some fans often debate if No Way Home was a true trilogy entry or a massive crossover, it fundamentally centers on Tom Holland's Peter navigating the fallout from his exposed identity and the tragic loss of Aunt May. We all know that legacy villains like Green Goblin and Doc Ock were transported to the MCU moments before their death. Yet the biggest surprise was the return of Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield in a major supporting role that provided emotional closure to their respective eras. Despite the multiverse spectacle and Garfield's redemptive moment saving MJ, the film remains a deeply personal story about Holland's hero sacrificing his entire personal life to protect the world. Do you think the film would have carried the same emotional weight if it had focused solely on the identity crisis without the inclusion of the multiverse characters? Oh man.
I think it still would have been a great film. I just don't think it would have had that like impact that it had with having the other two actors return. I think it still could have worked as a movie without the multiverse. If you took the exact same story, you would have had to make a completely different plot with it, but I think it could have still been a good movie, just not as memorable.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think from just a story purpose, if you take away the multiverse aspects of it, I still think that there is a promising and really great story there. But adding Toby and Andrew, I think, just elevated it to a whole different just the whole meaning of those scenes together with the three of them just took it to a different stratosphere. So I do think it would have held up just fine on its own. But yeah, man, there is something about Andrew and Toby's addition to it that just put it over the top. So I do think it could have worked solely on the identity crisis theme, but yeah, the multiverse definitely helped it out.
I think maybe like looking back, the reason like Spider-Man works so well compared to like the Flash, I think that because like you said, like with Andrew and Toby being there, I feel like the story was like elevated and the advice they gave Peter Parker, or Tom Holland's Peter Parker felt very much like exactly what he needed to hear for that exact moment. Whereas like I do think that looking at the Flash with Michael Keaton's Batman, he could have literally been anyone and the story would barely have changed that much. I think it would have almost been the exact same story no matter which one they got. But I feel like with what they used Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for, the way that they were utilized, you couldn't have possibly replaced him with anyone else except maybe the older Spider-Man that we get in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
No, I definitely agree with you, Stuart. I think that's a really good point you make. Alex, I'm Ramirez. What's up, Alex? Do you agree or disagree that launching a solo Spider-Gwen movie right now is a gamble? Between the mixed reception of recent Marvel shows and the general messiness of Sony's spinoffs, there's a lot of pressure to get it right without triggering the usual online toxicity. Using a multiverse cameo as a trial run feels like the smartest move. It builds hype without the massive financial risk, letting Marvel see if the general audience is as obsessed with Gwen as the comic fans are. Do you agree or disagree that launching a solo Spider-Gwen movie right now is a gamble?
I would say a little bit of a gamble. Because I know that a lot of people hate hearing this term, but I do think that superhero fatigue is kind of out there. So it's like, unless you got a really big hook to bring people into seats, other than the fact that it's Spider-Gwen, I don't know how many people are really interested in a Spider-Gwen movie at the moment. I think that if they had pitched a Spider-Gwen movie back in like 2018, 2019, that would have been the perfect time to strike while the iron is hot. But I think that now it would be a little bit more of a gamble. So you would probably not want to make it like a huge budget production if you were going to go with one.
I will say I don't think it's as big of a gamble right now. Although, look, 2027, they're not about to announce a solo Spider-Gwen movie or anything like that immediately. My preference would be this, to make it more palpable, because I do think the animated Into the Spider-Verse stuff is top notch. I mean, people love the first one. They absolutely love the second one. And I think those characters have become beloved. Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales. We talk all the time about the idea of like, what is Beyond the Spider-Verse going to be? And I've been saying this for a long time. I'm almost like adamant at this point that if you're trying to bring Miles Morales into live action, that is the way to go. Close off. If we're talking Beyond the Spider-Verse, to me that implies beyond the animation realm of things. I really would like to see Miles not only transplanted into the real world at the end of this trilogy, but bring Spider-Gwen along with you. Bring both of these characters and transplant them into live action. And I think if you do that, and then you then create sort of solo movies for both Miles Morales along with the Spider-Gwen movie, I think as long as it's continuing their story, the one that people have become familiar with and associated these characters with from the animated universe, then I think there's an opportunity there where people will digest a Spider-Gwen movie a little bit more accepting. I mean, maybe we get a Miles movie first and she's in there, but then after that, maybe spin off a solo Spider-Gwen movie. But I think people will accept it if the execution is done right. But then again, we're talking about Sony here, and they usually always fumble the bag in some way, shape, or form. So then my next part would be they need to kiss up to Lord and Miller and get them, and have them start developing not just the animated and TV side of things, but the movie side of things as well. And I think she'll be in much better hands. Night of OA says if Haley takes on the role, I don't think it's a challenge, but otherwise I would say kind of. So he does say that there is maybe an uphill battle, but if you get Haley Steinfeld kind of in that role, I mean, that would be a great just familiarity, like just from star power wise. I think that'd be great to attach her into that role if that ever came to be. But we'll see. It's been a minute since they've announced anything Spider-Gwen. I think it was like early development announced back in 2024. So it might make it might be some time. Jessica Fryman, do you think Turning Red and Soul and Luca would do well at the box office if Disney had been able to put them in theaters? And do you think Paramount is making a mistake by not putting the new animated Aang movie in theaters?
Yes, I think that is a mistake. Let me double check real quick. So you were asking about Turning Red, Soul, and what was the other one?
Luca.
Okay. Turning Red 2022. I think that would have done fine. Soul would have done really good, I think, in the box office. They just couldn't release it when the movie was done. Like if you released it in 2020, obviously, even though that was when theaters were starting to open up, if I remember correctly, when that movie came out, I don't think that would have done good at the box office at all. So you would have had to wait at least a year or two before releasing it. The other trick too is like you definitely wouldn't have wanted to hype it up early. So just you would have to definitely make sure to wait before announcing the movie and before releasing trailers. So and then Luca. Honestly, I might give the same answer I just did for Soul. Actually, no, that was 2021. If that was released in 2021, probably wouldn't have done great in the box office because movies were still kind of iffy in 2021. But I think that, yeah, for both Soul and Luca, if Disney had waited to release them in 2022, I think they would have done just fine. Like, I don't think they would have been like huge, like big hits, but I think they would have been fine. Like, same with Turning Red. With Turning Red, though, it's weird because that came out in 2022. So I have no idea why they didn't release that in theaters. That would have done just fine too. So yeah, I do think that all these movies would have done good in theaters if they had been released. Yeah, I don't know if any of them would have been huge, but they would have been good.
Man, I never even heard of Luca and Turning Red before. That's terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never even heard of them before. I'm looking at them now. I'm like, what? These were movies? Like, I have no idea. Night of OA says, I feel like Soul is one of Pixar's best movies. We've rewatched it so many times. I've heard great things about Soul. I've never checked it out myself, though, but I've heard great things. Is Elementals, is that Pixar also?
Is that
Pixar, or is that DreamWorks?
It's not. It's definitely Disney. I just don't remember if it was Disney Pixar or just Disney.
Oh, it looks like it was Pixar. Yeah, it was Pixar. I hear Elemental is pretty good too. I want to see that. But yeah, I haven't seen Soul yet, but I've heard great things about Soul. He says yes, Elemental is great too.
Yeah.
I don't think it did really good at the box office though, if I'm not mistaken. But I do believe it's rated positively on Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, it did pretty good. Finished its run around $496 million globally. So yeah, I think Elemental definitely did relatively well.
Yeah, It's weird because like I think it just really depends on the season that they release these movies because like Disney movies, specifically animated movies, are just like not selling as much as they used to. And I don't think it's necessarily the quality. I think it's either just the new generation just doesn't see movies as often, or I think it's just the timing in which they get released. Because like there was that other animated Disney movie I think could have done better if they didn't release it at a weird time, but it was like Strange Adventures. It was their sci-fi animated movie. And it wasn't bad. Like my fiance and I watched it together. We really enjoyed it, but like for some reason it just they did not advertise it very well. So when it came to theaters, I think it was like in theaters for 2 weeks and they pulled it.
Yeah, it says here Night of OA says it started out slow, but then it definitely did fairly well. It says strong word of mouth helped. It got an A cinema score and foreign good performance in foreign markets really helped it also. So yeah, I mean, $154 million domestically, $342 million internationally for a total of $496 million. Yeah, it did pretty good, man. Great scores all around. Let's see here. What else do we have next? Oh yeah, as far as the mistake of not putting the animated Aang movie in theaters, yeah, I think it's a big mistake. I just based off of what anime, just anime in general is doing right now at the box office, and considering that this is like American-made anime for Aang, I think a huge domestic support. I think at the box office for Aang, and just really what Avatar has become, just I think worldwide and internationally. I mean, you're fresh off of doing a Netflix series that reaches people worldwide. I don't see why an animated Aang wouldn't have more eyes on it at a theater. It's just a really well recognized franchise. It's just really surprised that they want to move it there. So and they must not like money, I guess.
Yeah,
but yeah. Alan, what's up, Alan Batista? The time machine question: if you could go back in time to see one concert or musical era, where and when are we going? Oh, I'm going to a Michael Jackson concert. I'm going to a Michael Jackson concert. dead ass. Although I think maybe Queen's performance at the end of I don't remember what show that was that Queen performed at. I would have loved to have been in that crowd. So maybe like a Queen concert, and or definitely a Michael Jackson concert for sure, for sure. I don't know any particular venue, but just any of them I'll take.
I would probably go with the Who. I would love to have been there for one of their earlier performances when they first like kind of popularized breaking their instruments on stage. I kind of would have loved to have been there just to see the crowd reaction to that, because that was something like very new and very like bizarre, but it was one thing that made them like really stick out at the time. Plus, if I sit close enough in the like towards the front row, you know, a chip of the guitar might fall off into my direction, and I got a really cool piece of memorabilia.
I love it. I love it. The core memory question: is there a specific song that instantly transports you back to a certain age or a moment in your life?
Quite a few. Like anything from Offspring will transport me back to high school immediately. And specifically Weird Al will take me to my early childhood, especially the song The Saga Begins. There's a specific memory that always comes up, which is that I listened to the song A Saga Begins before I ever listened to the song American Pie. So the first time listening to American Pie, I remember I think I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I was just like, this isn't my Star Wars song. This song, yeah, guys, I don't know. I don't even think I called it like The Saga Begins back then. I think I just called it the Star Wars song by Weird Al.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few. Like any songs by The Fray remind me of like my binging of Grey's Anatomy back in the day. Lifehouse, any song from Lifehouse, I feel kind of reminds me a little bit of like my time in certain aspects of high school for me. The Thong Song by Cisco for some reason just reminds me of later years in high school for sure too. Just like the music and stuff. I don't know that the Thong Song isn't transcendent or anything. It doesn't like, I don't know. It's just something about like just that time period of music that it reminds me of. Yeah, there's a few things. Oh man, what's that other? Why am I'm dropping the name of the band now. I can't think of it now off the top of my head, but yeah, those are just some. We only do 3 questions, so I'll pick this one. The soundtrack question: if your life was a movie, who would compose the score?
I would hope The Offspring.
You know, I think the easy go-to is John Williams for some people, but I've got two that immediately come to mind for me. One would be you know what? No, I said 2, but I'm thinking the more Danny Elfman. Give me a Danny Elfman. Yeah, give me Danny Elfman. I don't know. Maybe it's like he has like such 90s vibes about him, I think, you know. He's worked a lot with Tim Burton. I've also remember he actually did, I think, the score just recently for Send Help. There's just something about his music that I think I wouldn't mind Danny Elfman composing my life. There's a couple other ones I could easily name, like I don't want to take any of yours, but do you have anybody in mind, Stuart?
Trying to think of anyone else. I'm gonna give the most basic bitch answer and go with, I mean, maybe not basic bitch is the wrong word, but you know, I'm gonna go with the most obvious choice, which is why did his name just slip my mind? Holy shit. John Williams. Yeah.
Oh, John Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
I would also have picked either Hans Zimmer, or what is he just won for he did the Mandalorian theme, Ludwig Göransson. He did the theme for the Mandalorian. I also think he worked on the Black Panther stuff as well. Creed. He would probably be another one. So I think probably for me, definitely Danny Elfman, and then next will probably be Ludwig for sure. Let's see here. What other questions we got? Cars are my hobby. What's up, Cars? Is it a hilarious coincidence that actress Emily Osment went from getting punched for playing a fake girlfriend in Young and Hungry to being the one delivering the punch as Mandy in the Young Sheldon universe? How often do you think an actor realizes they are experiencing a full circle moment when the new character ends up on the opposite side of a specific trope they played years prior? I mean, I wonder how many actors have been in that position. That's not. I don't think that's something I can really Google. Like actors that have come full circle from previously playing a trope or some shit. I don't know if I can. I don't even know what actors that would be. Who's even Emily Osment? Who is that?
Googling right now. Because yeah, I've never seen Fake Girlfriend. She was in she was in Spy Kids 2. Was she the one with the ponytails that could like fly?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I think that was her. Yeah. Okay. Lost Dreams. Let me see. Yeah.
I mean, I think it is a hilarious coincidence. I mean, I think that's actually pretty funny. But I don't know how many actors have been in that experience of full circle moment where the new character ends up on the opposite side of a specific trope that they played. That's a good question, Cars. But yeah, I ain't got no answer for you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Man, if I had time to think of it, yeah, but I'm sure there's got to be some, especially like with women who play like damsel in distresses. I'm sure you get like some words like that was their original. Actually, you know what? We have one right now. Sophia Turner with her going from Sansa, who admittedly did get character growth and became more of a badass later on as the series went on. But in the very beginning of the show was basically the damsel in distress of Game of Thrones. And now she's playing Lara Croft Tomb Raider, one of the most badass women in video games.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Stu. The most talented man in the world. Family Guy is an irreverent animated sitcom that follows the surreal and often offensive misadventures of the dysfunctional Griffin family. The Ted films are live action comedies. A man whose childhood wish brought his foul mouth teddy bear to life, leading to a complicated adulthood of bromance and Arrested Development. Since Seth MacFarlane created both projects and voices many of the lead characters, do you have a preference for his animated works or his live action films?
I'm not a fan of any of Seth MacFarlane's live action movies. Like I haven't been a fan of the Ted movie, or I thought the first Ted I thought the first one was okay. But I did not like A Million Ways to Die in the West, and I wasn't a fan of Ted 2 at all. But I will give the man credit. I did really enjoy his live action television shows. I think those are doing pretty good so far. Like the Ted series. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the Ted movies, I think the show is absolutely like brilliant. And then Orville, of course, which is really just plagiarized Star Trek that started off as a parody in the first 5 episodes so they could, have a legal get around the plagiarism thing. But then after 5 episodes into season 1, it just stopped being a parody of Star Trek and then just started becoming Star Trek.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to give it a shot. Yeah, I mean, I will say I did like the first Ted movie, but I've never seen the second one. I haven't even seen the Ted series itself, but maybe I'll have to check that out. But yeah, maybe his TV stuff actually might be his best work. Johnny With the success of the Muppet special, could we see a new full series with new guest stars? I'm actually kind of surprised that we haven't gotten a full new series. I do see a lot of specials, but I mean, I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's just due to the popularity of the Muppets in today's day and age, in the sense of like maybe they can afford to do specials that garner attention, but if we're talking long-term stuff, maybe they don't feel like there's uh I don't know. Would there not be an audience for that? Because I'm kind of surprised that we haven't gotten a full series of the Muppets special.
Yeah, if not like a full new series, something I wouldn't mind seeing is like kind of a return to the Muppets making like their own kind of parody movies. Like for example, like when they did Muppets Wizard of Oz, Muppets Treasure Island, and my personal favorite Muppets Christmas Carol. I wouldn't mind seeing them go back to that, as long as that they actually have like a good story to tell and they're not doing it for like an easy cash grab. As long as you get someone who actually has a story that they can tell with that, because I think that using the Muppets is like a great way to tell a good story and engage kids, because you're using these fun characters that kids know and love.
Maybe we get like a Muppets Dune.
I know about the spice.
Oh man, but yeah, we need we need more Muppets.
Just imagine Mrs. Piggy as like one of the witches. Put your hand in the box. What's in the box? Pain.
We need it. We need it.
Oh my gosh, the chef as the Duke. Damn the spice.
Oh, I just look $1 million idea, guys. All right, royalties for your Muppets Dune movie, right here now, right here. Man, we got some good ones. Who is most likely going to be the female Red Ranger of the Power Rangers reboot? I don't know. Right now I'm hearing reports of, was it Peyton Lee or something like that? I don't know if those are accurate or not. I don't want to assume, but I do hear that Peyton is supposed to be part of the show. That she's like her and Momo, I believe, or I can't remember her other name. Momoa, the girl from at the Avatar Netflix series, I think has been rumored to be in the series too. But yeah, something tells me Peyton Lee might be the Red Ranger. But again, I don't know if any of that's been confirmed so much as just like quote unquote insider sources. Like I don't even think Jinsaku has confirmed that Peyton is set to be the Red Ranger. I think he's a little bit hesitant on announcing names in their color association. But I do believe like the Legacy of Nerd website is kind of running with it with his sources. So we'll see what happens.
If we need the, because there's usually the nerd of the team, I think Iman Vellani would be like perfect because I think she's still like at that perfect age where she could be a Power Ranger.
We need more Iman Vellani in anything. Like I like for real. Like she's so good as Miss Marvel, but I don't know what else she's done, or if she's like trapped under some sort of like Marvel contract obligations where she can't do anything. I'm sure she's going to be in the Avengers and stuff and whatnot, but I need more Iman Vellani in just anything. Like I'm really that impressed with her. So we'll see. But yeah, that she would be a perfect age for something like Power Ranger related. Doomsday. Before Fern, this is our last set of questions. Before Fern became the Orange Ranger, how did you feel about Izzy being very protective of her? Personally, I don't blame her for being super protective, because if I was a ranger in my team and I got trapped on another planet with my girlfriend without knowing she was with us and she didn't have powers on her own, I would have felt the same exact way, because if something were to happen to her, she would have no way of defending herself. And yeah, and plus, Izzy was always very much the more active. Well, that's not true, because I was going to say Fern also did do sports too. She was certainly the runner, but I think Izzy's athletic prowess led to other things for her too. So she probably always came across very much as like the protective one in the relationship. But I didn't have a problem with her being protective of her. It makes sense. I think anybody in that relationship certainly would be.
Definitely. Especially because, like, I feel like Izzy and Fern have like one thing in common, and that is that they're both brave. And I think that bravery can be dangerous in a situation like that. And I think that's what Izzy was thinking about too. Yeah.
When Goju's you're airing this final episode, how do you feel about Super Sentai as a whole coming to an end? What was your favorite or least favorite Super Sentai season? Least favorite's probably Ninja. I just going back on the series that I have watched, probably my least favorite. My favorite, I feel like it just depends on the day that you ask me. Like today, I'll go with Tokuger. Tomorrow, I may go with Gokaiger. But the next day, I may go with Go Busters. But probably favorite. Today, I'll go with Tokuger.
I'd say my favorite, of course, I mentioned earlier, Key Ranger, still my favorite. I think my least favorite, and this might be unfair because I never finished it, but I think it was my least favorite because I got bored with it and therefore stopped watching Super Sentai because of it. But probably Zenkaiger, the 45th anniversary series. Wasn't
I can understand that one. I was gonna say that might be my second least favorite. But yeah, I get you there. Did you hear about the Power Ranger reboot casting rumors? What are your thoughts on how we may have a female Red Ranger? I mean, I feel like we've been saying female Red Ranger for a really long time, even prior to this reboot being announced. It just feels like it's time. Like we're just in that place in society where we've moved along. We've had a female Red Ranger on the television show, on the Nickelodeon show, and or the Netflix show, and now it's time to have a full-on Red Ranger for this new reboot. So this does not come as a surprise to me whatsoever. Fans have been asking for a really long time, I think, or been wondering, especially ever since was it Laura Shiba from Samurai? Like, give it to us, give it to us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But as far as the casting rumors go, again, they're still just rumors. I mean, I do think some of the names associated, like the two I just mentioned, the two females, I think that they are probably in the show. As far as who they're going to be playing, this sounds like all new characters. We're not rebooting MMPRs, so they're not Jason, Zach, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, or anything like that. But I just don't necessarily know what colors they're going to be playing. But I'm open to new faces, familiar faces that maybe haven't had the opportunity to really shine yet in anything. Giving them a platform like this, I think, is a really great step forward. So whoever's been rumored, I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing who they got. I do kind of hope that it is a female Red Ranger, because we've had it in the past, and it'd be cool to have like this be the Kickstarter to the Power Rangers reboot. And more than any of that, I just enjoy that it'll piss off people I don't like. So
I like it. But yeah, guys, I think that will do it for all of our live viewer questions. I'm just gonna refresh this. Yeah, it looks like we still got the same amount of comments, so nothing has changed. So yeah, that will do it for all of our live viewer questions today, guys. So thank you everybody else that certainly participated today. A lot of activity here from you guys in the live chat. We always appreciate that each and every week. Kiki and Luca with the super chat earlier today. Some great faces certainly stopping by, familiar friends. So thank you guys, everybody, for certainly participating in today's show. Next week is next week is Valentine's Day, but that's on a Saturday. So I definitely expect to be back here for you guys on Sunday, on the 15th at least. And we'll see what else we do for the remainder of the week. We got some things brewing behind the scenes in regards to a Star Wars podcast. I'm going to try and launch that for you guys here beginning in April as we talk about the Maul Shadow Lord animated series and other Star Wars news for you guys. Stuart, you got anything cooking behind the scenes? Or if people want to follow you on social media, man, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on TikTok and Letterboxd. Haven't been posting as much as I wanted to, but I promise that will change. I am actually working really hard on making sure I'm active a little bit more on TikTok. So I will hopefully, this starting Monday, be a lot more active there. Yeah, it's been like, okay, so it's been like really crazy because like there were times like the days where I felt motivated to upload on TikTok were also days where there were some really messed up things going on in the news. Anyone paying attention to the news knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so it just never felt right to upload those days. So I just like the one upload I made was one where I just like kind of made my own statement of yeah, fuck ICE and fuck the Trump administration. But I do plan to like make actual like content in regards to like, talking about movies and other things that I'm like interested in. But it's just been like, it's been such a, tough year that it's been like, man, when is a good time to upload? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's been a shitty 2026, and we're literally just a month into it. So yeah, it's hard to find good times. But yeah, guys. Other than that, follow us on TikTok if you haven't done so yet. Over here at Hero Reports, we've been posting a lot of movie trailers, television show trailers. I've been posting report cards for all the movies that I've seen this month also. So if you want brief, digestible 5-6 minute clips of my reviews and thoughts on movies along with my report card for them, you can check those out over at the Hero Report TikTok. And then if you want to follow us on social media everywhere else at A+ Opinions. Our Facebook page is very active. We post on there daily for you guys. So we keep you posted on all the breaking news that drops, any new posters, exclusive new looks, trailers, and things like that. And then at the end of the week, we take 6 topics from our Facebook page and we talk about them here on our YouTube channel, which we stream live every Sunday for you guys. So subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. Hit the like button on this video and especially click that bell notification. So when we drop brand new videos, you guys will certainly be notified. And if there's any big news worth talking about, whether that be trailers or information in regards to movies and TVs, we'll definitely be posting new content on the YouTube channel for you guys to check out through the week. But other than that, that's going to do it for us here, man. Stuart, it's good to have you back, buddy. Thank you so much for certainly joining us again. We'll certainly see you guys next week. Night of Always says, great show, guys. Hey, we appreciate it as always, and we'll certainly see you guys next Sunday. Until then, do us a big favor as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.